Hey everybody, welcome to the Irrelevant Podcast. We are on episode 9 now. I honestly didn't think it was going to get this far, but we're here.
We here, baby.
Yes, sir. Um, so anyways, I think we're just going to go ahead and get right into it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so it's going to be just like last episode. I recommended an album to Jason, and Jason recommended one to me. Jason, do you want to talk about your recommendation or mine first?
Last time we talked about mine first, so we can go over yours first this time.
Okay, so um, my recommendation was Parachutes by Coldplay. It's their first album. It came out in, I believe, 2000.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you want to go first, or? Because I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about it.
I bet you are.
Yeah.
So, to preface, I fucking hate Coldplay. However, I don't think I've ever listened to their earlier albums at all. I've only really dived down into the stuff that's been on the radio, pretty much. So, I don't think I've ever given them a proper listen. And I have to say, listening to this album, it's not what I was expecting. I didn't realize. Well, I guess I could have guessed it, but they were more post rock back then. Like they weren't as, I guess, commercially driven as they are now. But
Right.
I think my favorite track off of this album was Spies.
Oh, yes. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like that's just like, yeah. So for the rest of the album, I don't think I would listen to any of the songs again, even though I thought I liked the album. But Spies is one of the ones that's probably going to be in my playlist. I really like that song.
Okay.
Because I think it's kind of it's what the album was trying to go for, like mood wise, theme wise, and also sound wise. But I feel like in areas it kind of fell flat. And this is the song where everything came together: the vocals, the cool guitar delay and melodies in the background. And my biggest problem with this band, I think, is with the lead singer. I don't like that very
Chris
kind of like
Martin.
low. Yeah, I don't like that low, mellow, whiny kind of sound that he has and some of the high pitched
Yeah,
stuff.
well,
But
the thing, I don't think
yeah,
for this album and for the next two, it doesn't really bother me as much as it does with their later stuff. I can
yeah,
see what you're saying, but I mean, this is coming from someone who does really like this album, and has like a soft spot for
yeah.
Coldplay. Because I used to love them when I was like a little kid.
Yeah, what got you into
My
them?
dad and my brother.
Okay, so they just kind of showed you. Did they show you this album, or did they just show you a couple songs and you checked them out, and then you
No,
liked this album the best? Why did you choose it?
well, so to answer the first question, how did I get into it? It's just because a lot of the music I ended up listening to when I was younger was just the music that my dad listened to. So
Right.
I listened to a lot of classical music because my dad would just put that on in the morning. But also, my dad was a big Coldplay fan, and he is really into that kind of alt soft rock kind of genre. Like he loves U2, um,
Okay.
and to an extent the Beatles and stuff like that. Um, like he just really likes that. And Rush also, and the Police. You know, like those kind of
Mm-hmm.
bands are what my dad really likes in terms of rock.
Right.
So I just kind of listened to Coldplay based on like the songs I would hear him play and on the radio. Like Viva La Vida is like the obvious one. Everyone knows that one.
Yeah.
But honestly, I got into this album when I was much older, like, you know, maybe like last year, because I think it is very good. And especially people might think that my positivity for this album is just coming in from comparing it to their newer stuff, which is a lot worse.
Yeah.
But this album really has a kind of like, it feels very like English soft rock, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I even the guitar parts and melodies that I mentioned earlier has a lot of post rock elements. It's very spaced out reverb. It's melodic,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that's so like that's what I'm saying with Spies is that I love the little tremolo guitar parts in the background, the little slide melodies, and then I love the way he structures his melodies. I think one of my biggest criticisms for a lot of the songs that they have, even some of them have kind of catchy choruses, it feels like the entire song is on like a different verse vocally than the rest of the bands. Like sometimes I feel like it fits over the music, but it just doesn't like serve the song the way it needs to, because I feel like a lot of the guitar stuff is interesting and the vocals kind of just are not there to really add much character. That was kind of like so like on the title, or I'm sorry, on the first track, Don't Panic. I really like the instrumentation from it, and I felt like the vocals really just kind of stole the mood away from the
I see
music.
what you're saying. Yeah, because
Um,
Don't Panic,
it
I do like that one, but not as much as the other ones, like Spies. I love Trouble. I think
yeah.
Trouble is fantastic. Um,
So Trouble, I remember this one from the radio.
yeah,
It's not something that I usually like, but I do like the piano melody, and I think this is probably my favorite chorus of the album. But again, I think the verses kind of fall flat because he does the same kind of high pitched monotone sort of whine, and it doesn't like it sounds good objectively, like it doesn't sound off and it fits with the music. It just doesn't really add anything to me. I think that's my biggest problem with them.
well, for me, you're talking about his kind of vocal style.
His vocal style, yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like it's very it's weird because there's a lot of genres that are in post rock that I love this kind of, soft melodic vocals, and they're not really there to change the course of the song. They're kind of used as an instrument to really just, help fill in the space.
right.
But with him, for some reason, it just his vocals don't grab me, and the lyrics don't really grab me either. But that one is the one I remember, and I like that one. Um, Going back to Shiver, that's another nice post rock
Shivers, yeah,
melody, and I
that's
like
very, yeah, like you said, post
yeah.
rock,
So that's
very English,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it like I like the faster tempo, and the vocals are nice over this one.
Yeah, but
Um,
like another thing you were saying about the instrumentation, I love the twanginess of this album. It's really twangy, and it has a lot of
yeah,
like, kind of, I wouldn't say exotic, but it's almost just kind of like dreamy. Like this album, really, it's very good for putting you to sleep. Honestly,
yeah, and that's why I was surprised when I was listening to this album because I wasn't expecting the instruments to have that dreamy sort of thing, and it kind of kept that mood the whole entire album. Like I said, I like the album surprisingly, and I really like that song "Spies." I just think my main problem is their vocalist.
I can see what you're
That's
saying.
really my only issue with him because I think they're a talented band, and I don't know anything about the band, so I don't know if he was the driving force behind changing the music to be more commercial than what it is
It
now.
could have been, I don't know, because all
But
the members are the same people. It's not like someone left or someone this.
okay, so it's all the original
Oh
lineup.
yeah, it's all the same people.
Okay,
Maybe the
yeah,
producer might have been different. I don't know, or their manager or something happened. I don't know.
yeah,
But when you were talking about the vocals, to me, it kind of, and like obviously, I know I don't want to just stick on the positive, but the way obviously like the songs are structured and the way that the instruments sound, and even not in all situations, because like I don't particularly like Chris Martin's voice on "Don't Panic," um, but other than that, on a lot of the songs, it honestly, like that's the thing about this album. It almost feels like it's just detached from reality. You know, like
yeah. It's something I would put on if I was laying under the stars with
yeah,
somebody.
it's very interesting, which is why
Yeah.
like especially on tracks like
Another.
Trouble, like we were talking about,
Yeah.
which honestly I love his vocals at the end where he's like, they spun a web for me. I think he has a really good voice and it actually suits his style in that track.
Yeah, it's strange. Like I said, I think he does have a really good voice, and I think it fits over the music that they play because that's kind of their staple sound. Because they don't do this dreamy post rock thing for the rest of their albums. I'm assuming
This the
it kind of
next
gets more.
well the next two albums are pretty similar.
Okay, so they're similar to this one.
Yeah, no, it was the album. I don't know how much you know their albums, but
I
so they
don't.
have this one,
Next, like I said.
and then in 2002 they released A Rush of Blood to the Head, which I think is a pretty good album too, which you might like, and I might recommend it in the future, but not for the next one because I wanted there to be variety. Their next one, their third
Yeah.
one, X and Y, I don't think is as good as their first two, but it's still worth listening to. And then their fourth one, I think it's not where it went downhill, but it's when it definitely changed, because that's the album with Viva La Vida on it, and it's a lot more poppy,
Yeah.
and it's just commercial, and it's just not as enjoyable.
Yeah, they fell into that trap of really not focusing on the tones and effects of the background instruments.
Right.
That's really more just a filler to just enhance the vocals, and that's a style that I can't stand that most bands take. Even just like recording, they throw away too much compression, or everything is so digital, and they just don't give a shit about the actual tone, and it's just about the hook of the song. But that's why I like this album a lot for that. So on the high speed, I love they do a lot of like really cool delayed guitar effects in the
Right.
background, and they do this thing called oscillation, which is kind of like it sounds like it's a record skipping, but it's a little bit more high pitched. It's like when you take a delay pedal and you turn up the repeats of the delay really high, and it like kind of has that pulsing like whir, whir, whir,
Oh
whir, whir,
yes,
whir,
okay.
whir,
Because
whir kind of
I
sound.
was wondering what that was. I didn't know what that was, and
Yeah,
I didn't know if you were gonna know. Because that's why I
yeah,
love that track, and I love that drum beat in the background.
yeah.
It's a very nice kind of just moody, chill out track.
Yeah, precisely, and that's what that is. Like I said, it's called oscillation. So it's when a note repeats itself over and over again. It feeds back into the loop, and then it
Okay,
just kind of
that's
it
cool.
starts getting really grainy and louder, and it just keeps repeating. And you can kind of create cool soundscapes with it. So it's kind of a that's what I'm saying. It's a stylistic thing that you can do with your guitar that most bands don't do now.
Right.
And I liked, like I said, the slides were cool. But for the vocals on that one, again, the song just sounded like one big verse, and that's kind of where it took me out. But for that
I can
one,
see what
I
you're
just kind of
saying.
focused with the guitars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess that would be
Um.
a complaint. But honestly, I think the biggest complaint I have with myself with the album is just the song Yellow. It's so out of place.
Oh,
It is so. I mean,
dude. So
it's not a bad song. I think it's fine, but I would have so much preferred if they just released it on an EP or as like a single. It does not belong on
so
this album at all. And like the position
yeah,
of it
and
from Sparks to Trouble would have been fantastic, but the Sparks to Yellow, it doesn't make any sense. Like it completely disrupts the flow of the album. I really wish they would have left it out.
yeah. So I'm glad you said that because Yellow is probably my least favorite on this album because
Oh,
this is the one that
definitely. I
reminds
mean,
me
because
the
it's their most
yeah,
commercially successful. Go figure. Because all of the songs I love by
exactly.
Coldplay are the ones that like no one's ever even heard of. Like every other song on this album. Honestly,
Yeah,
like my three favorites are Spies, High Speed, and Trouble. I would say.
yeah. And yeah, that's kind of my same sort of thought on that as well. It just reminds me of it just reminds me of modern Coldplay. It's just cold, calculated, it's fucking repetitive,
But
and
then
it's
again,
just
it is a
everything.
lot better than a lot of the shit they put out now.
Yeah, but
Um,
this is
but
like the
it's
direction that they
yeah,
definitely
I
go
know
in.
because they
It
saw
just
like
sounds
oh
like a
that's what
stock image
sells. So
song.
yeah, yeah, no, and it's a shame.
um,
But
yeah, it sounds like a stock image song. It just seems mass produced. I'm not a fan.
then again, it's better than
The
a lot of
next,
shit that is like designed for that kind of stuff. But like I can
yeah,
still
it's just what it
see
reminds me
right.
of.
I can still see the artistic integrity within it. But
Yeah.
yeah, like the stuff that it later became to be was
Yeah, and that's another thing I was going to touch on too. Is they're one of those bands where you really have to. I mean, obviously, if you're a super fan, you can listen anytime. But they're one of those bands you have to be in the right mood to listen to. So, I think stylistically, them keeping that consistent, I think is pretty integrity. Like they didn't. I mean, obviously, they switched up their sound. And I think they got lazier with the instrumentation, but it still has the same overall feel. I'm assuming throughout most of their albums, even their newer stuff, even if it's more like, you know, just
well,
commercially
not
fucked,
necessarily,
but
because like their newer stuff, it's just so unrecognizable. It's just like whatever. I couldn't distinguish it from anything other generic pop music that comes out, other than just I know what Chris Martin's voice sounds like.
okay. I guess I haven't listened to them in a minute. This reintroduction to them is different from the newer stuff that I remember from them, and I don't know if I've heard their most recent stuff, so I guess I'm kind of out of touch with that. But overall, I didn't expect to go into this to like this album. I mean, obviously, I went in with an open mind. I wasn't just gonna hate it before I listened to it, but I wasn't expecting to really like anything from it. And I think
Yeah, no,
Spies
I was
is
expect
yeah,
I
I like
was
that a lot.
holding hope out that you would have liked it, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I was like, all right, Jason's probably not gonna like this. Like, what was I thinking? But no, I'm very glad
Well,
that you did like it, because I think a lot of people don't really know about this album, and they just
yeah,
associate like Coldplay with the poppy modern stuff. But
yeah,
this stuff is, I think it's very good stuff. It's not
yeah.
fantastic, but I think it's pretty nice.
I said I actually did like the album. I think it's kind of the same sort of premise as the last one, but I like the last one a little bit more that you recommended. But I think with this
Right.
one, like I said, it's just one of those ones where I would love to just sit under the stars or just kind of zone out to, or if I'm doing something else. Because this also inspires me to pick up and mess with my pedals and create some cool psychedelic effects.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Because
and
honestly,
that's
I
yeah.
think this album it's kind of stoner. Honestly,
Yeah, post rock is a very like it's very psychedelic. It's very dreamy. It's very spacey. Like this genre and multiplies into millions of different subgenres that kind of coincide. The whole premise is you're creating a very moody atmosphere with your vocals or with your instruments,
right?
and
Which I
that's the
think they
cool thing I
do
liked about.
succeed in that aspect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They do. I think vocally this album kind of falls flat besides Spies and We Never Change. I love the melodies under the acoustic line for that one, and then the vocals, that one really mixed nicely with the song. They're actually intriguing, and it reminded me of the times that I've listened to music while I reflected on life. And
Okay.
that's one of those things, if I listen to a song and it makes me think of something else, I really like that. Also, I'm a sucker for when they do like the really slow string bends with a lot of reverb
Yeah.
to kind of really just fill that space out. So I think this is probably my second favorite song on the
Which
album, and I
one?
think this is all We Never
Yeah,
Change.
that's a good one. I
Yeah,
feel
the
that.
last
I'm sorry.
one,
Go what you're saying.
you can go ahead. Go
Oh, I
ahead.
mean, I was just gonna say I like because that's the thing. I know I throw the terms around of moody and atmospheric all the time, but like I'm sorry, that's the stuff that like I love. Like if something just doesn't make me feel like anything, I'm not gonna like it. But like here, like and when it comes to music, I like listening to. When I listen to music, I want to be like just transported into another world. Whether it be another place on this earth or whether it just be anywhere. It doesn't matter. I want to be just like that's I mean not all the time, but in a lot of situations I want to be detached from like my everyday life. And this album succeeds in that regard, especially with tracks like High Speed and Spies. Like Spies, I just feel like I'm just like and I hate to say it like this, but I'm just like ascending upward and like just I'm just
Yeah.
flying in the sky almost.
And that's kind of what makes me mad about him is because that's a like he didn't do too many very interesting little vocal runs, and like when he ends the melody that he like, I can't do it because I can't sing. I wish I could to replicate it.
Right.
But like when he ends Spies on whatever note that he runs on, like in the rhythm that he does it, like he should have done more of that stuff as opposed to, like I said, making a lot of their songs just sound like one big verse that he's just droning on throughout the whole fucking album. So sometimes I feel like it's wasted potential, especially with like the really good music in the background, for his vocals to fall flat like that. Like he has the ability to do that. I wonder if it's a stylistic thing or he just chooses not
It
to.
just doesn't really bother me as much, but I can see like where you're coming from because I just
I mean, it's a nitpicky thing,
I
but
mean, I don't
I
blame you
think
if you have a complaint. It's if it
yeah.
bothers you, it bothers you. There's nothing I can do about it. It just doesn't really bother
Well,
me because
I think wasted potential bothers me. Like if they have the skill to
okay.
do something and they
Well,
just
yeah,
choose not
in
to,
general, yeah.
especially on this album, like if he did this on like an album they didn't really give a shit about the instruments, it's just, chord changes to fill the mood for the song for the radio, fine. But they actually put a lot of detail into the instruments on this song or on this album, and so the fact that he only did like, one or maybe two or three songs with interesting vocal lines, it's very strange to me. But on that note, like I said, I think We Never Change, Spies, and then Trouble were my favorites.
Sparks is pretty good too.
Actually, Sparks is good too. The one thing, Parachutes, that was fucking retarded.
Yeah, no,
Like that was
that's like that
what
and
the
yellow.
fuck.
Yeah, what is that doing there?
I
But
I thought that was gonna be like an interlude or like some like weird sound or something, but they started like what could be a really cool song and they just fucking ended it at 47 seconds. It's like, what the fuck was that?
it could have been an awesome thing to the next song, but like it didn't really go with High Speed.
Yeah. And then the last one, Everything's Not Lost. I for some reason, like I don't know if it's because it was the last song that I listened to, but like I just could not keep my attention on it. Like it just didn't, like I'm trying to remember going back thinking on it now, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it even sounded like. I listened to it earlier today so I could
Yeah,
just refresh my
honestly,
memory, and I still forgot
I
what it sounded
don't
like.
remember either.
Yeah, it's just a very monotonous, drudging song. That's why I remembered. I was just when I listened to it, I was just waiting for it to end.
Yeah. Well, I guess going back to your point about the voice, the only track where it really bothers me is "Don't Panic" because I love the instrumentation.
Yeah.
I love like that kind of what do you call that? It's like is it DMR or what is that? Where it kind of goes in.
DMR.
Yeah, where the sound like kind of you can hear it like going louder and then it's coming back and then it's like almost like it's going from the left to the right.
Oh, it pans from the left right.
Almost, yeah. Like what is that called?
Yeah. It's just like sound panning. They're just moving. It's in stereo, and they're just moving it mono to the left speaker or left head earpiece,
Yeah,
and then moving it to the right. They're just panning the audio.
because I think it just
Yeah,
it brings me in. Honestly, I think it's a very good opening track
yeah,
in that regard.
yeah. So your feelings on that track is what I feel like for like some of the other songs on this album is I just feel like the vocals just don't do anything for the song.
Right.
But yeah, overall, I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, and I'd listen to it again. Like I said, Spies is definitely going on my playlist. So,
Right, yeah, okay, I'm very happy about
yeah,
that because I just, dude, I
yeah.
mean, like I said, I didn't think you were gonna like it. I was holding out some hope, but I'm really glad you liked it. Like, what would you rate it out of 10 if you had to do that?
Oh God, give me a rating system now. We forgot to do that last time. We can also, before we go into your recommendation, we can give the two albums that we did previously a rating.
Hey, we could do that.
I'd say, honestly, so for me, since metal is the genre that I listen to, a lot of people don't really give too much importance to the vocals. I would probably give this like I'll do like on a ranking system of song structure,
Yeah,
instrumentation,
the whole package, like
and
everything together.
vocals. Yeah, so for instrumentation, I give it a 10. I'm sorry,
Nice.
I'll give it
Okay.
a
Oh
9.
well,
I'll give it a
still, a 9
9.
is fantastic.
Yeah. I love that genre. I love psychedelic. I love post rock. So that really did it for me. So I'll give it a 9. Song structure, I mean, it's, they got that formula locked down. So it's good song structure. I'm not expecting, weird time signatures or crazy parts in this genre. So I think song structure is a 10. Vocals, I'd probably would give it like a 6.5 because they sound good. Or I'll give it a 7.
Or
I
it's
think
like
they
it's
sound
yeah,
good
okay, it's like above
and
average, but
they work.
not.
Yeah, they sound good and they work, but I feel like he could have put more. He could have put more work into the vocals
Okay.
to really make something interesting sounding. Because after hearing Spies, he definitely has the ability to write something cool. He just, I don't know, like I
Yeah.
said, if he just doesn't think about it or
I don't
chooses to
know.
do it stylistically, but it's just
Oh,
irritating to
one
me.
question about your rating. This is something that not a lot of people talk about when they're like critiquing an album. What do you think, excluding Yellow and fucking Parachutes? How would you rate like the actual order of the songs?
I think it was fluid. But I also think you could because like all the songs kind of had the same feel. There, besides like Yellow, there really wasn't a switch up in terms of
Zipper's kind of different than the other
moods
ones.
a little bit. But I think you can put them in a lot of different orders and it would kind of get the same effect. So I think it's definitely more fluid of an album than the last one that you recommended to me. I'd say it has good album flow.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that's a
Yeah.
good thing. That's a really good thing about it.
Like I could listen to it all the way through, even if the songs I don't like, I think they still fit in context with the album. So I think it's good album flow.
Nice, yeah. There was something else I was gonna say. Wait. Oh, also, I really like the album cover of like the spinning globe, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, the
orangey,
spinning
kind
globe.
of washed out. It looks really cool.
I thought when I first looked at it, I didn't look at it too closely. I thought someone just took a picture of the moon or something and just put a filter on it.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think it was a lot more solid than I was expecting. So
Yeah.
it was a good recommendation.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. For anyone who wants to listen to it, it's Parachutes by Coldplay from 2000.
I can't believe I listened to a whole album.
I know.
Fuck. All right.
All right.
What'd you think about Warp Riders
Yes.
by the
So
Sword?
Jason recommended to me the thing he just said. The Warp Riders by the Sword. I very much enjoyed this.
Good.
Yeah, I loved the intro to the first song, and I love that. How would you describe like just that sound of like that kind of rock music or metal? Like I mean, this is I would say. This is kind of, it almost reminds me of like thrash metal, like from the 80s, which is like one of the coolest fucking genres of music out there, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it's a little thrashy, and I think more what I was mentioning to you the other day. It's like if Black Sabbath did speed metal.
Right, yeah, I could see that.
Early Black Sabbath, because obviously they were pioneers of the genre, but just that early stonery kind of bluesy sound. The Sword does that, and also like at faster tempos too. They have very
Right.
bluesy riffs at high speeds. But I don't remember the order of the things, so like just do it by track. I don't remember the name.
Yeah, I'm trying to
order.
remember the. Well, okay, so another thing I was gonna say, I love music that just makes me feel like I'm fighting demons in hell.
It's very intense,
it's like-
but
like a
not like
Doom
in like an
kinda-
aggressive way. It's
yeah.
very, it gets your heart going.
Yeah, and it's like motivational. You know, it's not like just
Yeah.
like I said, like a lot of death metal I'm not a big fan of just because it just makes me feel nothing. I just feel like it has no soul, and it's just a lot of it's really repetitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love. It's really fun too. It has those kind of vibes, of like just like a Saturday garage like jam session, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's very garagey, but in a very good way.
yeah, and what the other thing I noticed is like the intros, they almost feel like, I mean, I know no one's singing, but like this the actual melody playing on the guitar, it just feels like sorry, like there's an actual voice singing even though there isn't one.
Yeah, they do the thing where I don't know. I mean, I think they do in some songs where like the vocalist, the chorus, the guitar mimics the chorus. They have a lot of leads that are melodies to their verses. So it sounds like you could put like that same vocal arrangement through the song, which is cool.
Yeah.
Um, I also really love their science fiction theme. So basically, it's been a while since I've listened to it, the lyrics, and really pieced it together. I
Yeah,
know
I
it's
didn't
like
really pay too much attention to the lyrics, which I should, but
I I think the coolest lyrics is the Chronomancer series where it follows
oh, those are
the
like my favorite songs, dude.
yeah, those are my favorite songs.
The
So that's what I was
Chronomancers
gonna
are
ask you is what
really
your
fucking cool. I also, yeah, the Chronomancer one honestly might be like that might be my favorite song. It just
it's the tastiest riff on the album
yeah,
for
it's
sure,
just,
or the riffs that are in there.
it's just got that like, yep, I'm working in the shop today, baby.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
again, like they're one of those bands like their lyrics interest me, so I love following the story of the lyrics on that one, even though
Yeah.
there's not that many of it. Like
Yeah.
because like for people listening, this sword has a lot of instrumental parts that are longer, and they have very few vocal lines. Like they do some chorus stuff, but a lot of their music is long intro, really hard hitting verses, kind of chorusy, and then sometimes like I love his ability to. His vocal arrangements are really cool. He doesn't have like the best sounding voice, but it really fucking works with the music. It's very strange, like especially live. Like live, he's very off key
Okay.
on a lot of the
Okay.
parts. So a lot of that's studio, but I mean he's also playing the fucking shit too. Like I give him a pass because he's playing all these difficult speed riffs while he's singing.
Right. So it is still impressive, because I can't do that.
Yeah, so he's not the best vocalist in terms of sound, but it really fucking works. It's strange.
Okay.
It's kind of like the Nirvana thing because he wasn't really that good of a vocalist
No,
either, but
no.
it just worked with the music.
Yeah, like in Smells Like Teen Spirit, stuff like that.
Exactly.
That's literally the only
Um,
Nirvana song that I like. Seriously, like I don't really
yeah,
like much of their other stuff, but we'll save that for another
yeah,
time because we need to talk about the music at hand. I also like because I love twang, like I mentioned on when I was talking about the parachutes. I loved the twangy intro on Arrows in the Dark, and then it leads into like the epic riff. I thought that was really neat. Um, Lawless Lands might be my favorite track.
that's a really fun one. When I'm bored, I usually pick up the guitar and I play the main riff to that
Yes,
one and
that
the beginning solo is fun to play.
yeah, it is like man, like
But that's
the solo with the fucking drum beat, it's so peppy. Like it's peppy as
yeah,
fuck,
the
dude.
marching beat, yeah,
Yeah.
the marching
Yeah.
band beat. But that's actually the best example of what I'm talking about. His ability to create melody and with his vocal structure from not being that good of a vocalist is insane. Like when he goes into the "Woo lawless lands we fly," like stuff like that. Like he does a really good job of adding so much space and ambience into the music with his vocals.
Right.
It's really cool the way he does it.
Right.
I like that song a lot,
Yeah, Chronomancer 2 kicked ass.
dude. Yeah, that riff is fucking nasty.
Yeah.
All the riffs in that song, the gallop in the intro, then like the fast shreddy part, then just it's like a song you run to.
Yeah, I cannot wait to get in the gym with this. There's gonna be some fun stuff to work out to.
You'll want to fucking fight somebody in the gym to that song.
Definitely. Or like hit the punching bag and stuff like that.
Just take my weights, bro. Let's go.
You stole the last 45 pound.
But it's crazy. Like all their music, really hard, fast hitting metal, no screaming. He does,
Oh, his
softer
voice is very
vocals
good.
and
Yeah, it's because like that's what I was saying.
yeah,
Because he does that kind of voice, that's what made me. It reminded me of that '80s thrash metal, which I fucking love.
yeah.
But
It's very in your face, but also softer.
yeah, and like I can see how I can see a lot of people criticizing this by saying it's like very derivative of other bands, like you said, like Black Sabbath or like '80s Metallica or Megadeth. But at the same time, that could be for me. That would only be a complaint if I was listening to this and I was thinking like, oh, I'd rather just be listening to this Metallica song or I'd be listening to this Megadeth. But it's like it doesn't make me think of that because I just want to be listening to this
Yeah.
because I think it does offer enough by itself. Even though, like, because obviously your knowledge of these kind of things, these musical things, you're more versed in it than I am. But because I'm really just kind of going off of like, oh, that sounded cool. I really like that, and it's not very.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing when you listen to this genre is that like the amount of like effects and pedals and amps and also like guitar techniques that you need to learn to play, like it really opens you up to playing other stuff just from listening to music like this. But to go to your point, yeah, it is very derivative of a lot of the thrash stuff, and it has a lot of the same
I hate
tropes,
to
and
say
like I said, the
derivative, but
bluesiness of Black.
it's inspired. I think that's a better term.
Well, I think it just depends on how you do it. Like, I think they're the best example of being inspired from, bands of that era, but also keeping it really original because they don't do the Greta Van Fleet thing where they just sound like a fucking virtual carbon copy of Led Zeppelin,
What's the band you said?
Greta Van Fleet, they're basically like Led Zeppelin, but a watered down version of
I've never
them.
listened to them.
I mean, I don't know if you'd like them or not. I don't like them at all.
I mean, I
It just
love
feels
Led
like
Zeppelin.
you might like them, but I just feel like it's just lazy and they're just a watered. Like you can tell they're really copying, especially like all the vocal things that he does.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Okay. I see what you're saying.
with the sword though, I think they do a lot of original stuff that's in their style, but they also, like I said, they do a lot. Like their earlier albums, this one was more of the thrashiest album. I think they get more bluesy and soft, well, not soft rock, more kind of just country. I'm saying the wrong
Country.
words. They get more. Not country, I'm sorry. They get more bluesy and just kind of southern rockish. Like they did a cover of
like a
Cheap
Pantera
Sunglasses.
kind of
No, not like Pantera. Like they did a cover of ZZ Top, the Cheap Sunglasses.
Okay.
That's kind of the direction they go in, is like that southern rock, cool bluesy, nice riffs and
Well,
stuff.
dude, ZZ Top
But they're
has
old.
some pretty cool songs. I've only listened to like a few of their songs.
Yeah.
I'm down with ZZ Top.
Yeah, I like ZZ Top too, and that's why I also like the Sword. And they're kind of in that sort of vein of the riffs being original like that and very catchy. But their old albums were very stonery. The production was a little bit rougher, and his voice was a lot higher pitched. And I still enjoy them, but they weren't as polished as they are now.
Okay.
But the riffs were very stonery, and just the guitars were super thick. And I mean, they still have that kind of feel now, but
Okay.
it was a lot more raw in their earlier stuff.
Well,
But I enjoy them a lot.
yeah, I'm very curious to see what other stuff they have. But another thing I was gonna say that I really liked is I just feel like you couldn't like it's almost, I hate to say timeless, but like I guess it's timeless from like the in the sense that like it doesn't seem like it came out in 2010. Because it just seems like it's just kind of like, but at the same time it doesn't feel, because they had that super cringe not too long ago, just like the whole throwback to the 80s. The 80s were so cool, let's make everything 80s themed. It's like, this doesn't feel like
With Stranger Things and shit.
yeah, well, Stranger Things actually has some good stuff in it.
Well,
I
I'm saying
mostly
that
like-
spawned that kind of 80s revival.
Oh, it was before that though. But that
It might have been. I don't remember.
have you ever seen the movie Drive
Oh,
with
fuck.
Ryan Gosling? That kind of started that.
Okay. I feel like I have, or I've just seen the cover.
It's
But
a very good movie.
yeah, I mean, obviously people are always looking at to be nostalgic, but that's the cool thing about, like you said, with them, it's timeless. Like you listen to it, they're like, what year was this made?
Yeah, I know, because like it sounds like the 80s thrash metal, but it doesn't seem like like it doesn't go into like this is just it's just we're throwing back to the 80s, we're paying homage to the 80s. Like it does it naturally, and you still enjoy the music, because like it does sound like the 80s thrash metal, but at the same time it doesn't necessarily, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, I think the structure is really different. Like the one thing that I don't like about 80s thrash metal is I feel like there's the transitions sometimes are a little bit weird in thrash metal, and it doesn't sound like some of the songs don't sound like one cohesive song. But with the Sword, even like when because like their song can have their songs have multiple riffs that are different in the same song, but it all feels like one fluid song. Like the song sounds like a song,
Right.
but with also really cool parts in it, which is what thrash metal does. But a lot of times the transitions just don't make sense, even though they sound cool individually. So I think their structure is super fucking tight.
Yeah, that's something I kind of have a complaint with on Ride the Lightning by Metallica, but at the same time it doesn't inhibit my ability to enjoy the songs on that album.
I think, and I was talking to you about this earlier, I think Megadeth is the worst contender for that, with like transitions just totally taking the song in a different direction. It kind of loses the feel a little bit.
Yeah.
But they also have some really cool like I don't want to, like, they have really fucking cool transitions, but on some of their songs it's just a little bit drawn out.
I can see what you're saying. I haven't listened to them as much as I would like to. I still really like them, but there's still a lot of them that I have yet to listen to, especially like their newer stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I really more like them for their guitar stuff. Obviously, Dave Mustaine is a different animal, but
Yeah.
I like their stuff a lot. But on this album, what was your least favorite one?
Honestly, I don't really know. Because it was very consistent. Um,
Okay, very
you
solid.
know, I didn't really think about what my least favorite or um, like, because honestly, I thought they were all pretty good. Yeah, no, I don't really know. And
Well, let me. It's been a while since I've looked at it. Let me look at the track list to see if I missed
maybe the
anything that
second
I thought
track,
was really
which was
cool.
Tres Brujas, is the name of it.
That one is yeah. I
Maybe
mean,
that
I
one.
I like
Yeah.
that song, but yeah, I can see where you're saying it doesn't like. It's a different feel from the rest of the album.
Right, because then like the first
Um,
one is consistent with like the third and then on, but the second one, I mean, yeah, like it's a good song on its own, but I didn't think it necessarily. That's honestly just like a nitpick,
yeah,
but I think if like
yeah.
that was probably like I'm not dying to go back and listen to that song, even though all these other ones I think are very good.
I think the difference with that one is that one was kind of repetitive. It was
Yeah,
very
yeah,
kind of copy.
yeah.
I liked Arrows in the Dark. That's another good one to go
That's
to
a
the
good
gym
one.
to.
Yeah.
I think the one that's a little bit underrated is the last track, the Tears of Fire. I think that's that's like their moodiest
I thought that
one,
was
or
pretty
the
good.
one that's a little,
Yes, because that was I was waiting for that kind of gravitas kind of thing, and I
yeah,
got that on that song, which I was very happy
which they
about.
do have. When I chose this, I was trying to think of because like they have a lot of good albums, and I was trying to think what was a good introductory one. And when I chose one, I was like, "Oh, this one has the best riffs for sure, I think, or like the coolest, catchiest sounding riffs." And when I was like looking back at the track list, I was like, "They're like they don't really have any slow because they do a lot of nice, moody, slow stuff too."
Right.
But they don't. That was really the only closest thing on that album was the last song, even though it still kind of has that upbeat sort of sound, but the vocals really kind of make it inquisitive, if that's the best way I can describe it.
I guess so. Um,
Um, yeah.
but yeah, I really liked it. I'm definitely gonna add this to like music that I listen to regularly, especially in the gym and stuff like that, or when I'm at work. Um, because like I said, it just very much reminds me of like just yeah, I'm wearing a tank top, drinking a beer in the shop, just doing my work.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
one of those bands like it's just they're just a good time. Like
Yes,
it's like one of
fun.
those
Like I
things.
said, it's
Yeah, it's fun.
yes. Which like
It's very fun.
especially when I'm listening to this genre of music, I want to have some fucking fun, man. You know, like I want to feel like I'm
Yeah,
fighting
yeah.
demons. Like, yeah.
But it's not goofy. It doesn't have like those like drinking beer American
No,
tropes.
because
Like
like you can, it
it's
just does it. Like you can get it out of that in a way, but it's not
yeah.
a vital part of it. You know, it's not
Yeah,
just
it makes you feel that way, but it's not in the music, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's an album like it's very seriously constructed, meaning like there's no goofy shit on the albums. Like it's very straightforward and like it's very fun and very serious, but also it's not pretentious. Like they don't. It's it doesn't give you that prog sort of feel, even
yeah,
though the
right,
riffs are
right,
very fucking hard to play.
exactly. Um, and like I
It's just
said,
a
with
fun
like
time.
like I said, it's a fun time. That's why it makes me. It reminds me of just like a Saturday garage band kind of like jam sesh, like with the
Yeah.
boys on Saturday. You know, it just definitely has
Yeah,
that.
and that's
Yeah.
why I like the duality of this one because the our recommendations were polar opposites of each other, which I think is kind of
Yeah, I
fun.
didn't realize that because I when you saw the
Yeah.
name when you said what you recommended to me, I had no idea what that was because I never heard of the Sword, or I maybe had heard of
Yeah.
them. I just didn't really know what they what they played.
They're not that big of a band, but they have a fucking massive cult
I
following.
can see that.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of it is gear. A lot of gear nerds like that because they use a bunch of custom amps, and a lot of people are looking at the tones and all that shit. So that's kind of where people love them. Obviously,
You said a lot about
for
people who
their,
go on and on about their gear.
it's just a fucking thing in this genre. I've been to shows where, dude, there've been. This is more in the death metal and prog scene where
Right.
it takes insane technical skill to play, and it's a lot on the gear and the sound of your instrument. It's times where I've been like at a show and there's been people standing with their fucking arms crossed, like, oh, I can't believe they use this amp on this tour. It's just like Jesus Christ, just
Dude,
enjoy the
yeah,
music.
the music will still sound pretty good.
Yeah, they're like judging the amps and the pedals that they use live. It's like my god.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, that's really more of the prog genre
Okay.
or the death metal genre. But this one again, it's just when you play guitar and you want to start making this kind of music, it is very indicative. Obviously you have to have the creativity, because some people just do not know how to play with pedals. They just throw them on and think that it works with the music, but you really have to play with it and sculpt the music around that pedal. You can't just do a part and I'll throw on a delay or something and it'll just fill the space. Like, you really have to write with it. So a lot of it is indicative of being creative, and also the specific type of pedal to get that sound, because you can craft different tones with a bunch of different pedals, but it's harder to do that than to just get the one that they use, because it's that tone. You know, you don't have to find it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Or sculpt it yourself. So it's a very effect heavy genre, which is really fun, because that's how you create all that mood and atmosphere.
Or what would you kind of categorize this genre wise? It's because like it sounds like 80s thrash metal, but at the same time it doesn't necessarily.
This is more of like faster stoner rock or stoner metal, I would say.
Yeah, because it's kind of like
a little bluesy.
In that Guns N' Roses, where it's like it's hard rock, but then it's also like not necessarily metal, but at the same time it's not really, it's kind of that bridge,
I think some of their chugging riffs are hard rock, but I don't think their songs don't give me like a hard rock feel. Throughout, like I said, I hear...
Yeah, because when I listen to hard rock, it doesn't make me think necessarily of, like, fighting demons in hell, which is what this album makes me think of.
Yeah. I think it just... The thing that is the same is it gives that sort of, like, American... Not patriotism, but like I said, just, like going outside...
In ways it can give you that,
drinking
but
a
not
beer.
To everyone.
Well, I don't want to use it as an example because it's vague. I'm trying to think of specific, like...
But it's just that, like, American, I'd say stereotypical, but just like that, yeah, like drinking a beer, or like you're working in the shop, or you're working on your car in your garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not like... It's like... The music isn't like that. It's just what it makes you feel like.
Because it's not necessarily designed to do that. Because there's a different thing of, like, someone... like explaining to you what something is rather than just actually show it to you, and then you just...
To make a very interesting comparison, I like that whole entire thing I just said. I think the worst offender of it, just really playing off that trope to the point where it's super cringy, is Kid Rock.
Of like the American kind of...
Yeah, that like, I don't give a fuck, I'm a rebel, I'll drink beer, like that whole bullshit.
Is that a genre?
Kid Rock?
Or is that a band?
No, well, Kid Rock is it's a dude, but he has a band.
Oh, okay, like a Machine Gun Kelly kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think he did a song with Machine Gun Kelly. Like, he does like this awful like country...
I hate Machine Gun Kelly so much.
Yeah, like he's cringy like MGK. Like he raps on a lot of his songs, but it's like that country rap and it's like southern rock, but it's also really cringy, like I Love America shit.
Do you know who NF is?
He's like that sad boy rapper, right?
Yes, that is literally everything
I've heard a couple
wrong with like that kind of genre.
You know what's crazy is like I like sort of sad rap like that. Like I like some of the shitty SoundCloud like moody rap, but his stuff is just boring. I can't get into it.
Yeah, because like it's just cringe.
It's just boring.
What you're saying? Because
it doesn't really cringe me. Like it's him. Like for him, like it just I don't know. Just it really isn't anything special to what I'm hearing. But I guess it is kind of cringy, but it's not as bad as fucking Kid Rock and MGK. Like that's just awful.
Yeah, dude. MGK is everything wrong with America right now.
Dude, I can't believe you switched genres. Like another genre I can't stand is pop punk. It's just
what kind of stuff is
not even
like what kind of bands?
Like Blink 182, fucking Green Day. Like it's just like really shitty.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's just I hate it so much.
Or is Coldplay like kind of like that or not really?
I think the repetitiveness and the commercial fucking like his vocals sound like every other pop artist in that genre. I think that's kind of the same thing with pop punk. Every band really sounds the fucking same.
Is My Chemical Romance a pop punk band?
Kind of. I think they're a little bit more emo.
They're also really bad, and I don't like them.
Yeah, all the bands in that genre are just like, what the fuck? And like I said, it's not even from not even liking how it sounds. It's also a very heavy pedophilic genre. Like out of all the genres of music, of their members being pedophiles, I think pop punk takes the cake.
Wait, seriously?
Because it's like because if you go to their shows, they're all fangirling bands, like these dudes in their 20s and 30s and even 40s now because they're older, and like the majority of the audience is like teenage girls and
That's
shit.
true.
It's very weird. I remember what band was I saw. I don't want to say a name of a band because I'm about to say something fucking raunchy. So there was a pop punk band that's kind of famous, and I saw them in Baltimore because my friend's sister wanted to go, and his mom didn't want her to go alone, so I kind of tagged along. And the whole, there's probably, I mean, there's a lot of people my age there too, and some older dudes, but the majority of it were like girls in high school. And like a lot of times the singers were encouraging them to like throw their bras up on stage, or I don't remember if they outright said it, but like they definitely didn't stop the behavior. They were like laughing about it, and like the singer collected all the bras on the mic stand, and they were throwing like, you know, stick-on dildos around in the audience. Like it was a very
What
sexualized
band did you say
fucking
this
environment
was?
with like teenagers. I don't remember. It's like two bands in my head, but I don't want to say either their names because I don't want to fucking put that out there and like with someone and thinking, oh, that was the band. I don't remember.
Oh, right, yeah, because you don't
I
want
just
to
know.
spread shit that you're not sure about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, especially with something like that. But it's a very weird sexual atmosphere with people that are minors, and that's why there's a lot of like outed pedophiles in that genre, and it's just a fucking lazy genre. I don't like how it
You're
sounds.
referring
It's
to
just
pop punk.
pump pop.
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck.
Listen to pump pop, bro.
Pop. So punk
Pop pop.
pop. Is that what you were referring
Taking
to?
too much Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Yeah, pop punk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking-
Also, like, if you're older than, like you said, if you're not a teenage girl and you listen to that, like, I'm sorry, bro.
It's pretty creepy because like it's one of those things where the people that peaked in high school are the ones that still listen to it. It's super angsty. It's like, I'm not gonna do my homework, fuck vegetables. Like it's just like stuff like that. It just sounds super fucking cringy. Yeah, it's just stupid, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very creepy atmosphere because it's like it's sad because it like the music is upbeat and it's supposed to be fun. It gives you summertime vibes, you know, skating around.
True,
like
true.
it's a very teenager-y fun thing, but
Like
it just has a creepy fucking atmosphere.
Kind of shit. Yeah.
Exactly. But like I said, when you have like 30-year-olds like hypersexualizing the teenage fan base that they have, it's just fucking weird.
Yeah.
Especially with the people, like I said, that have been convicted.
Yeah, they have a history of that, like you were saying.
I mean, that's with every genre. There's metal guys. I've gotten in trouble for that too, but it's not as prevalent as I think pop punk is probably the fucking worst for that.
Right. Wait, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh wait, what about you? You said Old Linkin Park is actually pretty good.
I like some Linkin Park stuff. Again, I think they fell into the commercial trap of making their shit sound like every other pop song, but obviously, I think I might be making this up because someone told this to me a long time ago and I just believed it, but I think they really got annoyed with their fan base because everybody wanted a another album like Hybrid Theory, and they're just like, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know if it was from that album, but when I was hanging out in the store with you guys, this song was playing, and I was like, this is pretty good. What is this? And you go, it's Linkin Park. And I was like, get the fuck out.
It's probably from Hybrid Theory. A lot of their really good, heavier bangers were off of that album.
Yeah, because like I would never have guessed that was Linkin Park. It was like
they had a little more edge to them back then.
yeah, it was like pretty good metal music.
Are they still like? Do they after he died? Are they still a thing?
I don't know. Let me see. Let me look this up.
I know Mike Shinoda does some stuff, I think, sololy, but
Who
I don't know if they still do anything under Linkin Park.
from the band died?
Chester Bennington, the vocalist.
Okay.
Which was kind of, that's what I'm saying, like, I don't know how they could continue because he's one of those people where it's like, you can't really replace his vocals, you know?
Yeah, because it's
He had a pretty
it's
unique
so
style.
iconic. Because like that's
Yeah.
Linkin Park.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not really like the biggest fan of them. Like, I like some of their songs, but I can't deny like you can't really replace his vocals. He's just that kind of guy.
Yeah, no, and at least like they kind of, as much as you said like his commercial they still had an identity, you know, and you can listen to them and be like, oh yeah, that's Linkin Park. But then again, like I'm talking about the newer stuff, not Hybrid Theory, like you were saying.
Yeah, I mean they really fell into the new metal thing, but they you could tell it's Linkin Park. Like there's a lot of new metal bands that sound like copies of one another, and everybody was doing that style back then. But they did it in a very I'm not gonna say the right word because I'm just thinking of this thought right now. But they just did it in a different way. I think that's why they were fucking massive, and that's why how they became so commercially successful. They just did it in a way that everybody loved.
Yeah. Yeah.
For lack of a better fucking thought.
Also, I mean, the only songs I really know by them are like the ones that are in the Transformers movies. Like you
Yeah.
gotta remember those, man.
I didn't mind that song. I know people have their thing
They're
about it. I think it was
fine.
a good.
I don't know.
It's not that bad. Yeah, it's not that bad.
No, it's not
I think it works in
terrible.
the movie.
Yeah, it does work in the movie.
Like I said, he's one of those people that also is good with vocal structure. So even if like the instruments are boring in the background, he can create a catchy hook or chorus.
Yeah, like that.
So
What I've done, I face
Yeah.
myself.
yeah, I like the power of it. I like vocalists that give you their raw emotion and their power. Like I said, going back to the Coldplay thing, that's why I'm saying it. I don't think he gives his all on some of the tracks, and that's why with
Yeah, I
Linkin
see what
Park,
you're
even if I don't
saying.
like, yeah, but a different style. Like I'm not expecting the guy from Coldplay to fucking belt one, but I'm saying like putting more like Chester put a lot of detail into his vocals.
Yeah, and you do have to give credit, like you said, where credit's due.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's awesome with people like him, because there's a lot of stuff that they do that I don't like the sound of, but he really, like I said, I can hear all the work and detail that he puts into his every vocal delivery that he did. Blast from the past. I haven't thought about Linkin Park in a minute.
I know, right? Well, I did like the singer from The Sword. I thought it wasn't too like just screamy. Like he actually sang, and he had a very nice voice.
He doesn't scream at all. I don't think
No,
there's any song. Yeah.
Like I said, because
I don't even think he's capable.
no, but that's what I did like, because he has a very nice voice. And I am kind of blanking right now.
I think it's interesting that, like I said, he just technique wise is not that strong of a vocalist. I don't know if he's worked with a vocal coach, but his voice got a lot better throughout the albums. He might have gotten some training, because that was like the biggest complaint, was the vocals were kind of strange. But even though they kind of sounded off key in parts, it still just worked with the music so well. His ability to deliver vocals were just fucking phenomenal, even not being that great of a singer, which I think is really interesting.
Okay. Do you think any of the Sword's other albums are worth listening to, if coming off of this?
Yes, I think. Okay, so the last two that they did were kind of their last album I don't think was good at all. It was just a complete.
Let me see.
It just sounded. I just felt like it was a lot watered down than their old stuff. But yeah,
Used
they have a lot
Future
of other
you're
albums.
talking about? I'm looking at the albums right now.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good album.
Low Country.
That's like their acoustic version of High Country. High Country was the album before Use Future, and that's where they kind of were going to that style shift. So I kind of figured that was like, I like that album, but that's probably going to be the last album that I like from them, because I can kind of hear the direction they're going in. But another album that's really fucking solid that you might like is Apocryphon.
It is a
That's another
cool
solid
looking
album.
cover. So does. What
Yeah.
about Gods of the Earth? Is that any good?
So that's the one that, like I said, that's like their cult classics. Like all their hardcore fans love that, and Age of Winters. Like that's like their really stonery, fast, like cool. So I love those albums. I just think that Warp Riders is the most. I think it's like with Mastodon. I think it's the best representation of the band and their style.
Like it just culminated there.
Yeah, but I know if you like this album, you'll probably like Apocryphon too.
Okay, so do you think I should
the
listen?
songs are really similar.
Okay, do you think I should listen to Apocryphon next?
I don't know if I was gonna ask you if you wanted to stray away from recommending the same bands in the next one. I was just gonna keep recommending different bands for you to
'cause we
listen
need
to, so like you don't feel
I'd
like
like to do that. I'd like to do. Well, I'm talking about more just like on the not podcast time.
Yeah, in your own in your own time, I would listen to that album. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't want to get into the pitfall of you not listening to music because you want to save it for here. So if if you want to do another band, we can do it. I'm just saying we don't have to do it that way. So like
yeah,
you
do
can
another
definitely
band.
listen to their other albums.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you'll like that album next. Gods of the Earth, that's like a little bit more of their raw. I can't remember if that or Age of Winters came first.
Age of Winters
But
is
like
older.
I said, that's older. Okay.
Yeah.
So that one is their most raw, but Gods of the Earth, the production is a little bit strange in that one. The vocals are in a weird spot in the mix, but they have some really fucking just insane riffs on that. I love those two
It's a
albums,
cool
but I would
album
go with
cover.
Apocryphon next. Yeah, all their album covers are cool. And their logo is cool too. I love their fucking logo.
Let me see.
It's very retro.
Oh, like where it just says the sword. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
their actual
that looks like some H.P.
because I
Lovecraft kind of thing.
yeah. I love when bands just don't like pay somebody to like give them a font or something. I love when they actually have like a specific design for their band logo.
Yeah, I actually love how talking about the Bond. That's not the Bond. The band fonts. um, I love how Tool's logo has like changed based on the album. I
Yeah,
love how
that's another cool one too.
yes, because I love the Lateralis logo. I think that one's really cool. But then also I love the Fear Inoculum one, just like the golden kind of plate look. And as
Did you see the thing where if you fold that album in half, it forms a syringe with the logo?
does it?
Yeah.
Let me see this.
Yeah, if you Google Tool logo syringe for Fear Inoculum, if you like I said, if you have the physical copy and you fold it in half, it looks like a syringe. And this came out before COVID.
Whoa, whoa.
Yeah, so people are like conspiracy theory. They got their tinfoil hats out. Because all
That is, I did not realize that. It
yeah,
also kind of looks like a dick.
it's yeah that too. But yeah, that I like when bands do like that's like Tool's the best with doing the cool Easter eggs on their album art and their visuals. I'm trying to think of another band that has a really cool logo that I like. I think the Slipknot logo is pretty cool.
Oh, the 10,000 Days. I know we're trying to talk about other bands, but that one's cool looking. I love all their
Yeah, I like that one
logos are
too.
cool. Obviously, Metallica's is pretty iconic.
Metallica's is
Yes,
iconic.
and
I think
sorry.
I'm saying Mastodon's logo is really fucking cool
Let
too.
me see that one again.
The one off of their logo. It's I think it's around the same font, but like the designs around the font change with each album.
Oh, I see it. Yeah,
Yeah, I like theirs too. It's very classy.
yeah, and like obviously their cover arts are very interesting.
They're my favorites, dude. The artists that they get for their cover arts is fucking. It's just massive, watercolor and digital mixed paintings and stuff. It's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I love on Crack the Sky. It has that kind of Chinese looking stuff going on.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I think it's more Russian themed because the album is Russian themed.
Really, I get Chinese vibes from the cover art. That is.
Yeah. I think the robes kind of do look Chinese that he's wearing, but I think it's supposed to like resemble traditional Russian
He looks
garments
kind of
or
like a
some shit.
Chinese warrior, with like his
Yeah.
hair and like the beard and like all that stuff. But I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, cool cover art.
yeah, I love how like I was talking about Metallica. I love how their albums, well, most of them that is, like the logo is like the same. It just depends on like the font, like not the font, but like how it looks in the actual the coloring or like the because it's in the same position and in the same font in all of the album covers that have it. That's
Yeah.
why it's cool to see all their stuff like lined up.
Yeah, I mean they were consistent. I think besides Saint Anger and
Yeah, and
a couple
Reload
others,
and
they're pretty
Reload
consistent.
Didn't follow it either.
Yeah.
But
Oh
then
yeah,
they went back with Death
forgot
Magnetic.
about that one.
That would actually be an interesting recommendation because I haven't listened to that in a while.
Death Magnetic. I think I'm gonna do a Slipknot album next for you.
Okay, yeah, I'll listen to anything. Does better.
Like I said, I'm gonna pick one that's not as chaotic as their first couple albums.
Yeah, because that's my only exposure I have to them. Like I was talking about.
I think they're one of those bands too. It's like once you get past the mass gimmick and you just start listening to I mean, they have a lot of fucked up lyrics, but also a lot of cool sounding stuff too. It's very poetic.
Yeah, the fucked up lyrics I do know
But yeah.
about.
I think in terms when I was younger, I listened to rap. I think that was the first genre of music that was a little bit edgy that I listened to. So Eminem and Insane Clown Posse were the first fucking people that I listened to like that. And they had like the edgiest lyrics ever, and I thought it was so cool back in the day because nobody else was saying the shit that these two were saying.
Right.
I would like obviously there are people that probably were, but on that level commercially, like these guys had record deals and they were saying all this fucking insane shit. And then when I got into metal, I was listening to Rage Against the Machine and Slipknot, and Rage's lyrics were more political, but they still kind of were hard hitting because they were controversial
Wait, like they're
politically.
political in what direction?
So they were pretty much really anti-police in the 90s because of the whole LA riots thing. They were from Los
Okay.
Angeles. So they're more left leaning, so they had a bunch of like anti-police lines, kind of like with like NWA, um, also in the 90s too. So like that whole kind of style of basically what the LAPD caused on the world.
Yeah.
So that's kind of war, but like the lead singer was more he was more into the systematic stuff, so he was talking about forms of government and shit,
Right.
and he didn't just stop at police. So a lot of that was people's complaints. But Slipknot, there was just a lot of the lyrics were just gross
Yeah,
or
it's
just
just
edgy
yeah,
to
just
be
edgy
edgy.
and like shock value stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't really political at all. But them, ICP, and Ramstein were the three bands that got blamed for Columbine.
What is that?
You don't know Columbine?
I don't believe.
It's those two guys in the 90s that shot up the Colorado school. That's like the most famous school shooting. You've
Columbine?
never heard of
Actually,
this?
no. I think I
Yeah.
have. I might have heard the name. I just don't remember associating it with.
Look up a picture of those. Just like look up Columbine shooters. It's where like that stereotypical like trench coat and gloves and glasses and shit. That's where that came from.
Let's see.
Yeah, so those guys listened to a lot of that kind of metal and they played Doom, and so that whole like video games making you violent or
Oh, that's
listening
where
to
that
this
comes
music make
from.
you violent,
Oh.
that's kind of where that comes from, was those two
They
fuckheads.
were listening to what
Um,
bands you were saying?
so I know specifically they listened to Ramstein, but I don't know what other bands that they listened to. I think Marilyn Manson also got lumped into yeah, so they listened to a couple bands, but the bands I know that got a lot of criticism for like a lot of angry parents were basically blaming that on Slipknot, Insane Clown Posse, Rammstein, and Marilyn Manson. Those guys really got the most shit for it for some fucking reason. But also video games too, like violent video games was that. So that's kind of where that trope started, was from those
What
two.
is your opinion on that? On like the video games and shit being too violent?
So I think if you're a regular person, you can fucking watch somebody get their head sawed off and be affected, but you're not going to want to go do it. I think if you're a little bit over the edge or if you have some sort of mental problem, then you are like that music and that kind of atmosphere will probably kind of influence you. But I also think it does, like if you're that on edge, like you're going to go and snap and kill people. I also think like having a shitty job will do that too. Like I feel like
Yeah.
if they didn't listen to that music, something else would cause them to do that later.
So you're
You know
saying
what I
like
mean?
it's just like it would happen anyways. It's just a matter of what it is that's gonna make and break.
Exactly. I don't
Right.
think, because like if you think about it, like especially now, like metal and rap is really, they're both popular, insane genres, and I know the world has gone crazy with people that are, shooting up shit, but I feel like it's a lot more political. It's like a lot of right wing extremism, a lot of like left wing Muslim extremism.
I'm Muslim.
I don't know why I said it. I don't know why I said it that way. There's just a lot of extremism politically from whoever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
So I don't
Exactly.
think it has to do with like music and culture and video games, because like so many people play them. Like there's a lot of people that watch horror movies that don't go out and kill people. There's a lot of people that play video games that don't do that. A lot of people listen to
No,
extreme
I'm
music and
sure
don't do
because
that.
like like most serial killers seem like normal people.
Yeah,
They
like
probably listen to like fucking classical music.
and yeah, most serial killers were a lot older too.
Yeah.
Like they weren't of that generation. I mean, obviously there's still serial killers now. It's just harder to get away with, I think.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, because like
But no boomer that's like Ted Bundy wasn't listening to fucking Megadeth,
Ted Bundy was probably listening to like whatever the fuck boomer shit was out.
or Black Sabbath. I forget that that's a little bit older. Like what, I don't know if it was like 70s,
No, Black
80s.
Sabbath
Was that
is
Ted?
not gonna make you go and fucking shoot people. That's nonsense.
Well, they were the first one to have really that, besides Kiss, having that really big shock value of just like really dark sounding music, and Ozzy's fucking biting heads off bats and shit, and he's a massive drug addict, so it's like they weren't,
I have never listened to Kiss. I don't really know much about them.
they're awful. They're like stadium fucking, I kind of lump them with Kid Rock, except they're not as, their music isn't stupid, it's just cringy. It's just cheesy.
Okay.
And Gene Simmons is a fucking douchebag. He's just he's just all about money, and he just thinks that everything worth a damn has to be, commercially successful. He's just a fucking pretentious prick.
Kurt Cobain, baby.
there's very few musicians that I can't stand, and Gene Simmons is one of them. Especially because he plays bass and it's fucking simple rock, so it's like he shouldn't even be that pretentious.
Literally. I'm trying to
Fuck.
think of
But
musicians that piss me off. I mean, I guess some of them, like, I don't feel like talking about it. For
don't want to go there.
yeah, for political reasons. But I don't get the whole like hating Kanye thing when it comes from the right or the left. I don't understand it. Like,
he's just fucking. Kanye's just out of his mind. He's just bipolar.
Yeah, he's just a weird dude. I mean,
which is crazy. I like Kanye's old music. I thought it was good.
Dropout
and then
is very
as
nice.
soon,
I like that album.
yeah, and as soon as he dates Kim Kardashian, he fucking goes insane and just starts saying crazy shit. Like Kanye's one of those dudes where it's like you can't really get mad at him politically because he just says insane shit. Like he just says stuff wildly out of left or right field, and he just changes his mind. Like you can't really take anything he says with severity. He's just,
like the whole like
he's just
thing
a fucking weird artist.
where he was like supporting Trump. Was that even like no one knows, right? Like no one knows if he was being serious or not, right?
I mean, I think he was serious, but I think that, like I said, like he just has a lot of mania. Like he just, I don't know if it's not being on the right meds or not taking meds at all, but like you can tell he's just losing his mind.
Well, he did convert to
on
Christianity,
a lot of
which
shit.
is nice.
Oh yeah, he had weird church services. He got fucking Marilyn Manson to come to his church service. They all dressed in like a weird white robes and shit. Seriously? It was very cult like. Yeah. He got the Antichrist superstar to come to his service. It's pretty funny.
Wait, I thought no, not Marilyn Manson. Who's the Manson that's dead?
Charles Manson.
He's the guy who did all that shit with like what's her name? Sharon Tate.
Yes.
Okay.
Had her killed.
And then then Marilyn Manson is his daughter?
No, Marilyn Manson is not related to Charles Manson at all. It's not his real name. It's his stage name.
Oh. Okay. Oh, so they're not related.
He's just no, they're not related at all. He's just a shock rocker.
Okay.
What was I saying? But fuck, I lost my train of thought. Going back to that whole sort of Jesus Christ, I lost my fucking train of thought. I had something.
What were you gonna talk
what
about?
The fuck? What were we just talking about?
Dude, you telling me, because there's a lot of shit we were talking about before we got on the podcast I want to talk about now, because we had some good shit going, dude. Like, you were talking about your friend who had awful shits from the spicy taquitos at 7-Eleven.
That's not even related to what I was.
Does it matter?
God damn you! Now you made me lose my train of thought even more. Will,
so
thank you.
Let's just change the subject, dude.
Oh, fine. All right. I guess we're fucking segueing into fucking spicy bites. So, I was drunk with some friends. I think this was a little bit after high school, and we went to 7-Eleven at 2 a.m. And the taquitos that they have, they're always rolling. It's on the glizzy roller.
Yeah, getting glizzy.
Late at night, and there's probably like 2 or 3 of them left. And my friend had one, and it was the spicy bite. It was like their hot taquito. Yeah. And as soon as we get home, like he from 2 a.m. till probably 10, he just would not stop shitting himself.
Oh god.
He had minor food poisoning. It just fucked up his system so bad. That's why you never eat the last of something at the end of the fucking, or I guess early in the morning or late at night, however you want to say it.
7-Eleven. Jesus.
It's been sitting out all day in fucking lukewarm heat.
Right.
Or
no,
just not a good look.
Not a good look, bro. Getting spicy taquitos with your friends after you're drunk at 3 a.m. Not a good look, bro.
Dude, I have fucking really stupid stories like that. I could go on forever, but most of them were just going out to do random shit because we're bored and then ending up in trouble.
Yeah, you probably did a bunch of fuck shit.
Dude, I was not tame. Well, I shouldn't say not tame. I almost got arrested.
Wait, seriously? How?
Yeah. But there's a lot of shit that I should have gotten in trouble for that I didn't. Like, I was very lucky. My friend, I was not tame in high school, but like I said, I wasn't addicted to drugs. I never killed anybody. I never did anything really insane.
But how did you almost get arrested? I want to hear this.
Okay, so you remember? Does your school have teacher work days where you just get off of school on a random day so teachers can catch up with all the paperwork they have to do or the grades and shit?
We might have. I don't remember because I don't give a shit about school.
Okay, so in high school we had teacher work days, and they were sometimes on a Friday. And so I was off that Friday particularly, and a lot of my friends went to a different high school, so they had school that day. And so me and my one friend that went to my high school were like, yo, we want to go to your school to just fucking just see if we can go through the whole day and sit through class and shit and not get noticed, right? So we literally get up early in the morning. We go on the bus. Everything's fine. The bus driver fucking smiles at us. We go in and sit in first period in the library. We even bought lunch. And the one class that I was going to go to with my other friends that were there, he told us that there was supposed to be a substitute that day. There wasn't. The fucking actual teacher came, saw that we were out of place, and were like, you guys need to get to class. And so I was going to be like, okay, cool, and get out of there. But my fucking friend's a moron. And he's like, oh, they don't go to this school. And I was like, what the fucking shit, man? And so the teacher's like, oh, you guys better get out of here before security comes. So like, fine, fuck it. So we leave. We're walking, and we have no ride because we took the fucking school bus, and this was probably like 30 minutes from my house. So we're about to walk home, and it's like out in the fucking country. So this is like, there's nothing around past this little town.
Like, what grade were you in?
Fuck, man, I was probably a junior. I think I was like 15 or 14. Okay. And so we're walking down this fucking road, like, goddamn it, now we have to take like 4 hours to walk home now because I don't know what my parents are doing. I think they're working, and my friend's parents were also at work. So as soon, like, we probably walked 10 minutes, and then we see fucking lights behind us. There's this cop, because we're on this country road. He's fucking speeding to us, slams on his brakes, and he's like, you two, car, right now. So we're like, oh, fuck. So he picks us up in the car. He takes us back into the school. And I remember, I don't know why I said this, because, like, I knew I was in deep shit, but, like, I was just, like, I was about to cry. I was like, fuck, I'm in really serious trouble. And so I'm sitting in the car, like, on, like, in the verge of tears, and I'm like, are we gonna get in trouble, sir? And he was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, he was laughing. He's like, yes, you are. Yeah, dude, it was so surreal. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. So he brings us back, and we sit in the main office. He's like, you guys wait here. And he goes off to go get the principal. The principal walks in. He looks so, like, frustrated and flustered. And he was like, you guys are so lucky we found you, because if it was like a minute longer, I would have called a lockdown and you guys would be in handcuffs right now.
Nice.
Because we don't know who you are. We don't know if you have a weapon or anything. Like, they don't take just random kids walking into school. Like, they take that shit seriously.
Yeah, no, but, like, I guess at your time it hadn't fully settled into that attitude, I guess, maybe?
No, dude, people were serious about it. We just didn't give a fuck. Like, school shootings were still a hot topic back then. Like, it was not a joke. You couldn't just walk into a school, and you couldn't just pick up a random kid. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't just do that shit. But yes, like, we're sitting there, and he basically, we're calling your parents in. So we had to wait there an hour just awkwardly. I'm like literally fucking crying. And my mom picks us up and takes me and my friend home, and they're like, we'll call you and see if you're going to get charged or not. They eventually didn't charge us. They just let it go because they realized that we were really upset, and we weren't there to do anything but just hang out.
Oh, right, yeah, you weren't trying to pull
because
some stupid, like, you weren't trying to.
Yeah, we literally sat in a class and bought lunch. That's all we did was sit in a class and buy lunch.
Yeah, honestly,
that's all we did.
Kudos to the people who decided to, like, not convict you as anything, because honestly, like, you're kind of in the right. Like, I mean, yeah, you did have some complete fucking strangers trespass on the property, but, like, y'all weren't doing anything, like, bad.
Yeah, that time, but there's some stories I don't even know if I want to say on here. Where, like, I did, like, pretty much, like I said, nothing drug or harm related. Like, we didn't fuck with people. Like, we always trespassed and fucked with things. That's kind of more like the dumb shit we would do. Like, we would take shopping carts and go through the McDonald's drive-through and, like, make engine sounds. Like, we just do shit like that all the time.
Oh my god. Dude, I cannot.
We just fucked around, yeah.
I cannot wait till I have my license and then I can just fucking drive into, like, a McDonald's drive-through and pull some fuck shit.
Dude, another really funny story is you got to be careful, though, because once you get your license, you're going to think you're a fucking drag star race. So you got to be careful. You got to really just, because, like I said, insurance rates are expensive. You got to be careful. You really can fucking kill yourself.
Oh, dude, the insurance rates in Louisiana, I think, are the highest in the country.
I'm sure they are, because everybody probably doesn't know how to fucking drive down there.
No one knows how to fucking drive down there. And all of my New Orleans friends would agree with me.
Yeah. But I think going back to the stupid car story that I have, I wasn't there. I just heard about it. It was the Super Bowl, one of the Super Bowls, and my friends were going to get pizza. It was like during like the after the halftime show, they
Mhm.
do like the little fucking post game analysis thing. So they were going to get pizza, and it was snowing and it was really icy that day. And they get this call. We get this call because it took them like an hour, and we're like, where the fuck are they? And they're like, yo, we totally crashed into a pole. I'm like, what? So
Wait,
we're like, hold
what
on,
the fuck?
hold on, we're coming. So we go there. What happened was they went to go get pizza, and then they went to like there's this. It was a grocery store, and it was one of those things where there was behind the parking lot of this grocery store was like like a row that you use for loading in or some parking.
Right.
So what they were doing is they were speeding around on that road, and they tried to pull the e-brake to drift around a corner into the parking lot like you do in video games. They
Oh
miscalculated,
my
fucking
fuck,
fishtailed on the
dude.
ice. The back end of the car spun 360 and slammed in, like, you know those like concrete pitted fucking light poles that are in
Yeah.
parking lots?
Oh.
Slammed into that thing. But that's not even the best part. The inside of the interior was like that really shitty gray suede that they had in the early 2000s and late 90s cars. And the guy that was in the passenger seat had a red Slurpee. So the fucking Slurpee went everywhere inside of the car, and it looked like
Oh.
somebody got slaughtered in there, bro.
That's
Oh, it's so fucking funny. He told his, I can't remember, he told his mom another excuse because he didn't want to tell her that he fucking tried to drift in a parking lot and fishtailed and hit
yeah.
a
Like
fucking
do
light
some
pole.
pull some shit from a video game. Like what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah. So don't do bravado shit to impress girls or your friends because you will injure your car or yourself or kill people.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm
it's
just
not
gonna
worth it.
drive to work, drive to church, and drive to McDonald's
Good old
occasionally.
boy.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's all I go,
Good
and
boy.
I'll drive to the guitar store too. Dude,
Yeah,
honestly, that's
but
like literally the only places I go. It's literally just work, the guitar store, church, the gym, and that's it.
hey man, if you like having a routine and it's not causing you misery, don't change
No,
it.
I mean, and like I also like I do it every once in a while. You know, like, hey, let's like do this, or like or like when I have my car, I'll be like, hey, let's get a coffee at McDonald's or something. And like I
Yeah.
know the people there, so it'll be like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's whatever you do, if you're enjoying it and keeps you out of trouble, it's good to go. I mean, I didn't really learn. I mean, I guess that's probably. It doesn't sound like it's that bad in retrospect, but that's probably the one thing where it's like I need to just slow down because there's a lot of other stuff that I really could have gotten in trouble for that I just did not want to deal with. And but yeah, I was a shithead back then, man.
Really?
I didn't have that much of a filter, and like I said, I was very cynical and sarcastic, and I just did not give a shit.
Right.
Like I said, I wasn't like an asshole to people. Like I wouldn't just walk around and just like be a problem. That wasn't me. But you know, if people, like I talked my way out of every fight that I've ever was supposed to
Did
be
you
in.
ever fight
Like I just
anybody?
no, I've never gotten in a fight. The closest thing is like like hitting people in football and shit.
That doesn't really count.
But I've never, no, I've never gotten into a fight. I've usually always like befriended, like I could talk my way out of it. Like I was either like friends with the people that try to do it, or like I would just like make a sarcastic comment that they just could not laugh at. So
Yeah.
like I just had that way about me, or I could just talk my way out of shit.
Right.
But I also was like super sarcastic, and like if people like did something that I thought was dumb or like forced me to do shit that was lame, which is majority of high school, people just make you do dumb shit and lame shit for no reason.
Yeah, because a lot
So
of it
I
just doesn't matter, man.
exactly. So like I just was that way back then. Like I said, I wasn't bad. I never made people cry or anything. That wasn't me. But
Never
I
killed
had
anybody.
no filter back then. Never killed anybody. Never got anybody pregnant.
Hey, as long as you're doing
So
those, you're still doing pretty good, man. You're doing better than.
well, it's just you realize you just have to fucking calm down. Like you can't just you like I said, you just end up hurting yourself more in the long run because you're just thinking of all that negative shit all the time. It weighs on you. It just weighs you down.
Yeah, man.
It's not a good
Not
look.
a good look, bro. Just like school shooting, not a good look, bro.
Like, yo, you're gonna kill your classmates? Ooh.
Whoops.
Yikes.
Sorry, I'm not into that, man. But anyway, the
that's-
most fuck shit. If you ever, do you want to hear the most fuck shit I ever pulled in school?
I really do.
Okay, so the most fuck shit I ever pulled in school, it was like my sophomore year. It was like one of my last classes I had in New Orleans before like the school year was gonna end and I was never gonna be there again. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go all the way out and just not give a shit. So My other friend actually, I didn't even have any planning going on. My other friend in this class with this guy where he's not old, but like he's kind of, I mean, he's like 60 or something like that. He's
Right.
really obese and like he has trouble like walking and getting around. Like he had to use the elevator and stuff like that. And he also needed a hearing aid all the time. And so he also didn't really notice stuff, here and there, like there's peripheral vision, so you could just do goofy shit in his class. So I sat right next to the air conditioning. I saw that my friend from like a little ways bit in the classroom was like spraying like Axe spray everywhere,
Mm.
just all over, just all the way. And then I was like, "Hey, yo, can I have? Do you have any more?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, I have like five." I was like, "Let's go."
Oh my god.
So I sat right next to the air conditioning, right? So I just took the axe spray he gave me and I just sprayed it all in the air conditioning. Yeah.
I'm sure that smelled fucking
Oh,
awful.
it did. And then eventually my teacher's just like, "Gentlemen, it reeks in here."
Yeah, that is mildly tamer than what I thought you were gonna say.
Oh no, yeah, I never pulled like put some duck shit in my teacher's coffee. Like that never happened in my school.
Bro.
Yeah.
Dude, that's not even so like you tell me that story reminds me of time because my a lot of people in my friend group they just like they thought like being like jackass was the best thing in the world, so they would just like do really stupid shit to each other. And the one thing that was so fucking gross that I just wanted to like punch my friend in the face for was we were in a sauna and he thought it was funny to like piss on the rocks of the sauna.
Oh, that would
So it
smell
was like
so
filling with
bad.
oh my god, dude,
Oh.
as soon as he did it, because like I didn't know what he was doing because like he like turned his body to me and he had a water bottle, so I thought he was pouring water on the rocks, but he was fucking pissing on it, and so like it was filling up with steam. I'm like, what the? And then we smelled it, and I was like, what the fuck are you
That
doing?
must be
And
so
like we're just
bad.
like ran out of the sauna, like oh so gross.
That must have been one of the most putrid smells you ever experienced in your life.
It wasn't bad. It honestly didn't smell like it. I mean, it smelled weird, but it wasn't like
Okay, yeah,
if
I
I
might
didn't
be
know what it
over
was, I'd be like, what does
exaggerating.
that
Yeah.
smell? Yeah, it's not that bad, but like when we saw him doing it and like we saw like we're getting like fucking doused in the steam from that, we're like, oh fuck this.
Yeah, and you're gonna probably come out smelling like that if you're staying there for too long.
Oh, dude, I was so fucking pissed. We like jumped in the pool afterwards too. We're like, nah,
What?
we're like, we're gonna leave your ass here, bro.
Yeah. What is though the most putrid thing you've ever smelled in your life?
Oh god, dude, I have a weak stomach. Don't do this to
Oh
me.
no.
I'm trying to think.
Jason has
You
special
know,
needs.
bro, it's bad. I used to do the dishes with a chip clip because just seeing the food sometimes would just make me I can't do gross shit. I
Oh.
think
Yeah.
Pro the worst thing I think is did your friends ever do the shit where you're sitting in the lunchroom and they just make the grossest concoction like all like different food and drinks and mix it into one oh god I'm gagging thinking about it.
Maybe? I don't really.
And like they made somebody drink it.
Oh, what did they drink?
I don't remember, but dude, it's like mashed potatoes, Gatorade, like, okay, I need to stop.
What the fuck?
I can't do it. I can't do it. We gotta change topics, bro. I
Oh
can't do
wait,
this.
so some more fuck shit that I did in middle school, bro. The axe spray thing that was a sophomore, but this shit I did in like
Mm,
sixth grade. I remember. So every day at lunch, right, you could get a free carton of milk. It was so great. It was literally just a free carton of milk, and you could choose between the
yeah.
chocolate and the regular milk. And most people just got the chocolate. So I just literally took the fucking chocolate milk and like squeezed it really hard. And it got like all over the wall.
Did it get on people?
Yeah, I
Like,
did. I was like,
I would fucking bitch slap you,
and I
bro.
was just like, oh, sorry.
Dude, there's been times like I hate when people do that. It's like I said, it's like gross shit. So it's like I didn't like the taste of the chocolate milks in school. So if someone like sprayed a carton of that, I'd fucking oh my god, I'd be so pissed.
Oh, dude.
I think the grossest thing that happened to me was this is one of those things where I was in second grade and I don't remember shit from that year, but I remember like a few things. And one of the things I remember, I don't even remember why this happened. Like I was standing like we're probably like in line to go to recess or some shit, and this dude got mad at me for some reason. He like spit all over my glasses, like right on me too.
The shit people do,
I didn't
man.
know what to do. Like I didn't get angry. I didn't like. I froze. I was
Oh,
like, "What the
dude.
fuck just happened?"
One time, this fucking guy, he slapped my pencil case from the edge of the desk, and the pencil case landed on my fucking balls. Oh my god, it hurt so bad. Dude,
Bro.
I was just like, what were you thinking? Like, I was so mad at him. I was like, oh.
That reminds me, because like everybody was always hitting that was a big thing in my school, especially on the football team. Our coaches would get so pissed
Like,
off.
nut tapping
And
people?
also yeah, we would nut tap, and we do the thing where like when someone's walking in front of you, they fucking like you kick their foot behind their other leg and they fall. Or like we did the really stupid shit where you'd walk up to somebody, pretend to talk to them about something while your friend like bends down behind them, and then you fucking like push them over them, like shit like that.
Dude, but like,
We just did really dumb shit like that.
talking ball shit, though, that's like, that's too easy, though.
Your favorite subgenre?
Yes. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Do you torture?
Give me cock and torture ball.
And it's like the fucking skeleton. You remember that shit with all like the skeleton
Yeah.
memes? Oh, that was so great. I loved that.
I missed. People don't shitpost that much anymore. I miss that era.
Yes, I saw some great shit. I saw this one where it was like, it's fucking. It was like a skeleton dude riding on like a flying motorcycle or something, and it said, "I deal with everything in my life, even the piss."
Yeah. I saw another one that had that same sort of tempo. It was like, "Listen up, liberals! I shit my pants and my wife left me."
Yeah, it's like I saw one where it's like the guy he's like riding off like the skeleton guy riding off of his motorcycle, and it's say boob without the B on the end. Scariest shit ever, bro.
I love, dude. Shitposts have ruined my fucking sense of humor. I knew it was bad when I was looking. Like it was, dude. Like this is not even gonna come across as funny on the podcast, but I think I need to say it for context.
What is it?
I just like it was a picture of a cheeseburger that said hamburger. It just made me fucking die. See, like, why is that so fucking stupid?
Dude,
Like,
shitposts can be so funny sometimes, and like you don't know why.
God, fucking like when that happened, I knew it was bad. Like I was just like, all right, I gotta fucking do something intelligent.
I saw just like a picture of like a fucking tree, and it just said Wallace.
Fuck Wallace, bro.
Wallace, bro.
It's probably that tree that I can't remember where this was, but they were gonna tear down the tree, but it was a very old tree, and I don't know how it happened, but somehow the the deed of the land was willed into the name of the tree, and it just somehow the people let it slide, so they couldn't fucking tear it down because he owned the land.
Nice.
I hope that's a true story and it's not just a fake Facebook thing that I read, but it was really funny. Fucking shitposts ruined my. They opened up a whole new world, but they also just made me lose brain cells.
That's very true of memes in general, not just shit posts.
Yeah, I think we're all gonna talk in hieroglyphs pretty soon.
Oh, definitely. My history teacher already brought that up.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of historians and philosophers bring up that point, and it's definitely going in that direction.
Yeah, because like memes, they illustrate points in like this so like fifth to the seventh power negative level irony that like when you get it, and it's so fucking funny. But then they tell,
and it's not even. I'm sorry to cut you off.
well, yeah, but like to most people, it's like, wait, what?
Well, I was about to say that. That's what I love about it. It's not even the fact, like, it's the fact that it's so unfunny and people get irritated about it, or they just don't get it. Like, they try really hard to understand what it is.
Yeah, no, that's why anything could be a meme. I could literally say the word channel, and it's like a meme. and you could literally just put that and insert it next to like the a picture of like Markiplier or some stupid fucking YouTuber that doesn't matter anymore. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the one thing that's so funny because I like it, it's so hilarious to me when you show something to somebody and they don't get it. I don't know why I find that so funny. Like
Really?
the best thing is I know my parents hate it, but every time I go visit them, I show them pictures of shit that they'll be like, "What is that?" or "Do you know that person? Why are they doing that?" Like they have so many questions for it.
Yeah,
It's
like
so
their
fucking
reactions
funny.
are so different because us, we're just
Yeah.
like, oh no.
Dude, there was one, I don't remember what it was, but I showed my mom, she's like, what the fuck? What is that? I don't know what this is. Like she was like freaking out. She's like, what is that?
It's dark web, man.
I'm like, you don't get it, Mom? Look at the picture. She's like, I don't understand this. It's so out of her fucking time period, dude. It's so fucking. I don't know why it kills
I
me.
know, but it's hilarious though, because like it's just a testament to how much the internet is just like has fucking like changed the like everything.
I've so every community college class that I've been through, it's they always do icebreakers, and they for some reason like to start off with debates. I remember I think it was either like my communications class or this like general elective that I had to take. There was always they always like pit us into two sides. Like, okay, the people that think the internet is a good thing on the left, and the people that think the internet's a bad thing on the right, and blah 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 blah. But they always had that. They always had like little debates like that,
I am not
and
one.
people always got
I am not
going.
one to completely shit on the internet because yes, it obviously has just produced a lot of just stupid nonsense that makes people stupid and nonsensical.
Yeah.
Especially like if you have an exposure to it to at an early age, like I did, you're probably not gonna have like the and I hate to sound pretentious, but like you might not have like the wisdom to realize that this shit is like deteriorating your mind, you know? But
Yeah.
you can get attracted to the good stuff that the internet has, like the ability to just listen to any music from anywhere in the world whenever you want to is so awesome. Like I can be like my brother was talking to me this, I could just be a fan of Brazilian music or I could be a fan of Argentine music. It's like you don't have to go there to actually listen to, like it's here, you know.
Yeah, I've always, I mean, my opinion, even back then and still now, was the internet is a very powerful tool, and if you don't use it, it's very or if you don't use it correctly,
Yeah,
it's very
it's very
destructive.
dependent
Like
on how much
there's,
you use it. Yeah,
yeah, like you can fucking grow your business, you can become famous, you can solve murders. Like there's a bunch of really useful shit that you and learn a bunch of stuff. Like,
definitely. Yeah,
if you know how to navigate the bullshit, there's a lot of useful skills that you can do on your own from the internet. But again, like it's the same thing with like online dating. So it's like it's not that the online dating is bad, it's the fact that like people are bad in general. So you're gonna like regardless if you meet somebody in person or from the internet, like people are gonna disappoint you.
yeah.
That's
It's
just
just because
regardless.
like
It's just
as humans,
solely
right?
dependent on what you
I
do.
would say like just as humans, we just tend to abuse things, you know, and we just take it to
Yeah.
the extreme, and we don't stop to ask ourselves, like John Hammond. Oh
Yeah.
no, sorry, like Ian Malcolm says in Jurassic Park. He's like, yeah, like you did all this cool shit with like bringing dinosaurs back, but it's like you never stopped and asked yourself like, should I do this? Like maybe there's a reason that these animals are not in this like didn't survive to be living amongst us, you know.
Yeah, no, it's very of that theme of just we need to fucking slow down, like I was saying last time,
Yeah,
and
like we're not taking into account like the ramifications and
yeah,
the after effects of
yeah, it's a
things.
very pleasure now, consequence later type of thing, and that's like going back. I don't want to get into it again, but going back to all the vices people have, like spending a lot of money on shit that they don't need is a lot easier,
Yeah,
or
like flex
instant
culture,
thousands of
dude.
videos.
Flex culture can
Yeah,
fucking kiss my ass.
yeah. Or scams. The internet is ripe with scams for people that are unsuspecting. That's the other
Definitely.
thing that is very dangerous, and it's very easy to do on the internet. So like sometimes, because like I'm not a fan of censorship in any form. I feel like you have to know where the bullshit is and where it stands
Correct,
openly.
because then you're
Because I
not
feel
gonna
like if
know
you
what is
cover
bullshit.
exactly, but like if I feel like if you try to cover up any information, regardless if that information is harmless, you're gonna you're gonna suppress other useful information in the crossfire. I think that you have to have that stuff there, and you have to know where it is and where to avoid. You can't just, I don't know, like I said, I'm very anti-censorship, but also I'm not anti-blocking spam. So those people that fucking spam, like, download this movie on every fucking comment post, or, I'm a Nigerian prince, give me your bank account, I'll send you money, or people joining fucking pyramid schemes and shit. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I think of that vein that it can be blocked, but I'm not really much of censoring of information.
Dude, I honestly think that porn should be banned. Like,
I think porn needs to not be as abundant as it is. I
yeah,
feel
or at
like
least
if
yeah,
people,
make it a lot less readily available because, or at least you have
yeah,
to pay for it because like, yeah, because it's like, oh, it's free, but it's like, yeah, you pay for it with your fucking
yeah,
soul, man. Like that shit.
which is,
Like, it is. I
yeah.
think that honestly might be the biggest thing that is like just deteriorated our modern society.
So I kind of I have very interesting view on this, I think, because I don't have a problem with sexuality or pornography. I think that, like with anything, like with our culture, it's just everything is super numbing. So it's like I don't have a problem with TV and video games, but if that's literally all you do, it's super fucking destructive. But I think porn is easier to fall into that destructive mindset with how readily available it is. Also, like you can look up any sort of fetish that you have, because that's why a lot of doctors, or I don't know if it's doctors specifically, but a lot of health statistics are basically like that's why men are getting ED at such a younger age, because porn is literally, so strong that it's ruining their relationships with the people that they're dating.
Yeah,
Like they
man. I
can't get
mean,
it
it
up
just
because
like
it's just not as stimulating.
yes, like it
Yeah.
completely just like it distorts the way that you look at women and like your expectations you have in terms of like relationships and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, which is crazy because like I mean, not getting in too much personal information. Like I feel like I'm a pretty sexual person, but in real life. But I remember when I was younger,
Dude,
like
Jason
I
is
would, I would.
crazy, bro. Jason's
No, but
wild,
like
man.
no, but it's healthy now because I really don't watch porn anymore
Neither
because I
do
don't
I,
really
because
need
it's
to.
awful.
Because
And I don't even have a
well,
girlfriend.
it's not even that. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm dating somebody, so it's like I don't really need to. I don't really have to have it. I don't feel a desire, which is good because I mean, basically, like I don't know if people don't want to admit it or not, but like when I was in high school, I'd say I was pretty addicted to it.
Oh
Like
yeah,
you
almost all
know,
of us
and
were at some point or still are. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, obviously, like people are like, oh, it's because you're a teenager. It's like, no, like I think you develop some very bad habits and damaging mindsets because you're exposed to this at such an early age. Like, I don't like when I think back on myself of like the shit that I watched when I was like 14 and 15. I was like, this really isn't like because I was never that mindset. I was like, oh, I was listening to this aggressive music and like these violent video games. So I thought, oh, it's the same thing with porn. I just know that this shit isn't real and it's just exciting because it's
No,
like,
and
oh, I
that's the
never,
fucking thing that makes it
yeah,
worse is that these are real people doing this shit. You
yeah.
know?
But it's very, but the point is that it's very fake the way they set it up. Like the shit that's in porn is not like,
No,
I mean,
because that's what I'm
obviously
saying. I
people
think
do it, but like
that's what
it's
makes
not the
it
normal.
worse though. It's because these are actual people with like actual souls, and like they're not, and they're just like, literally just like
So
treated as objects, you know, and or just like
I guess I should,
props almost, you know.
I guess I should specifically ask you then. So I think porn is damaging because it teaches you to have unhealthy sexual. It teaches you to have very unhealthy sexual viewpoints, and I think that messes with your relationships later. But that's really where it ends for me. I don't. I feel like if you have sexual repression, that makes it worse too, because then you're missing a lot of stuff, and then if you get a little taste of that apple, then you're just gonna go fucking insane. That's why the people that grow up in super repressive households, whether it's religious or not, they can't drink, they can't do anything sexual, and then as soon as they branch out and get to college, that's why they either get pregnant or they overdose or they get alcohol poisoning. Because I think you have to have moderation. So like when I was younger, my parents, they let me drink a little bit. So like they're like, here, you can have a sip of this, right? And they were like, if you like, I don't have a problem with you drinking, but like you do not drive, and if you're ever in a situation where you're at a party or something or at a house and you can't spend the night, call us no matter what
Yeah,
time. So
they're
it's
just like, don't be
they
stupid and don't be scared to like
yeah.
if you're in a bad situation, like we'll help you or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and with the sex thing, like my parents were kind of uncomfortable to talk about it with me, more so my dad than my mom. But my mom, like when I was dating, because I was dating people in high school, and she would always ask me if I was having sex, and I was like, yeah, and she was like, like I really don't want you to, but I realize this is just a facet of life, and just be safe. Like she told me, like obviously, like never do something without a condom, right?
If I
So
told my
that's
mom
my
that, she would literally kick me out of the house.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like my parents instilled moderation. Like they realized that I was gonna go through this eventually. So like you're supposed to introduce it safely. So I didn't feel the need when I was in college to like rebel and break out and like, oh, I have to drink every night or I have to fuck every person I see. Like they grew up, they raised me with a lot of moderation, and so I'm very
That's
thankful
good.
about that. But with porn, I was pretty like like I said, I wish I didn't watch as early as I did.
But at the same time, there is value in knowing that it's really bad and knowing that you never are ever going to
Yeah.
do it again, which is very nice, you know?
Well, now I think it's fine because I don't feel like it damaged me to the point where it's beyond return. Like there's stuff where I know is bad, and I don't think it sacrifices the relationship that I have now because I think it's fine. It's healthy in that way.
Right.
So, I'm good now. But I just when I look back, I was like, I wish I didn't go through what I did because, and that's the other thing too. Like I don't have a problem with people making money from it. It's like with any industry that's entertainment. It's you have to do it with a certain amount of respect and severity, like with gambling or alcohol or whatever the thing is, because it's vices. It's people can ruin their lives off of a lot of things like that. So it just depends on how you view it. That's honestly my thing. But I think with porn, it's very easy to get sucked into that stimulation. So it's very difficult to be moderate with it,
Yeah.
I would say.
And
But I don't think you should not have it. Like I think you have to have some sort of sexual release, and I think you should know some certain things before you actually have sex with people correctly, because it just saves that embarrassment, or it saves you getting in trouble, and it saves catching a charge pretty
well,
much.
I have no experience with that, so no comment. I'm
I mean, if you
Christian.
watched it, so you. Well, that was my question to you. Is like, do you think because of the religious aspect of not really supposed to do that before marriage is why that's a problem?
You mean in terms of my view of porn?
Yeah.
No, not even that. I mean, it's just because it like just completely changes the way that you look at human beings, and it's so bad, you know? And it just makes you overly sexualize everything.
Yeah, I think that's a problem. Like, if you look at it where, like, this is supposed to be normal and you're supposed to experience this form of euphoria every time that you, like, because, like, sex, I don't know. To me, there's different ways you can do it, but I feel like if you view the person that you are having sex with as just an object, or not even that blatant, just any other way besides, a person that you're with, I think is harmful, unless it's like a role play thing. So like you both understand that it's not real and it's just to like make things more interesting. But then once that mode switches off, then you're back to being loving. You know what I mean? Like like it just depends on what you do and how you do it. I feel like if you think that any sort of reality is entranced in these sexual fantasies, I think that's where you start getting damaged.
Well, I'm Christian,
If you just
so
understand that it's fucking entertainment and it's just there for it has its place, but then like it doesn't leave that place, I think
right.
then you can
But
be
like you were
fine.
saying, just like the ability to just have that euphoria whenever you want is just it's it's soul taking, like because it's so powerful beyond like what we, because I think now society is kind of to they're starting to see like the after effects of all of this, you know, because they didn't
Yeah.
realize how bad it was going to be.
I think I think it's just an abundance of everything though. Like I said, I think it's just bad diet. We're in a political fucking repressive state. We're in a social repressive state. The pandemic's happening.
No Jesus, man.
I just think there's a bunch of yeah, it's a bunch of factors. I think it's just one bullshit thing after another is just causing people to fucking freak out.
Yeah, but it's the other thing
Um,
like I was talking about is just because like we just have it so good, we just don't realize it, you know.
so I don't know. I think that to have like to me what strength means is to be able to walk into the fire and be unscathed, or you get scorched a little bit but then you grow stronger, or you break a bone and then it heals back stronger.
Right.
So I think that you like to me, like if you ask me what is the meaning of life, I think the meaning of life is learning everything. So learning strength, learning civility, learning anger. Like I feel like you have to experience everything before you die.
Yeah.
um, and regardless of where you go after you die is another debate, but I think that you have to be tested and put through things and figure out what works for you and what doesn't work. So especially in a world that it's easy to see all the damages and all the sorrow. So I don't know, I don't think that we just need to live in a society that's super clean and polished. I just think that you
No, but
have less of the
at the same
extreme shit.
time, I don't think that like Christianity is not just like trying to sanitize the shit out of everything, because that's not it. Because I think people are now, like I was saying, they're kind of coming around to like the idea that like okay, just because like just because like this priest is saying that porn is bad, he's not being like some annoying like overly religious person. It's like no, he kind of has a point, you know. And I'm glad that
Yeah.
people are starting to realize that.
I think it's just difficult because I think with most modern religion they just lost credibility with a lot of people. So like it doesn't even matter if they make a good point or not. It's just going to be lost in the religious aspect. But that's what I'm saying is like regardless if you're religious or not, just listen to the people that actually benefit your life, or you just navigate through things that actually is healthy. So
Right.
but I think that does a disservice. I don't like I said, me not being religious myself, I don't like that we've gotten to this point where like we don't listen to any good advice from anybody because of a certain thing, or just been divided into these social classes, or these economic
Yeah, it's just
classes, or
fucking
these political
it's just
classes, or
fucking
religious
nihilist.
classes.
Like
Like it's just not a good.
there is zero national identity anymore, you know?
Which honestly I don't even care about. I just people are just not in a good spot. Like if we were in a better position in life and we didn't have a national identity, it honestly wouldn't bother me because there'd be no reason to have one. You could just be your own self and not worry about a fucking, identity. Like you could just do shit, and I think the betterment of society would just progress from that. Um,
Yeah, well, okay.
but
So I watched this movie recently with my parents. It's called Waking Ned Divine. Have you ever heard of it?
I don't think
It's
so.
about this like tiny rural Irish town, and it's just kind of like a peek into that kind of lifestyle. And I'm just like, man, like all these people in this town, like they all know each other. This one guy in the movie, Ned Devine, he dies, and like everyone knows, and it's like they all go out together, they all drink beer together, they all like go through shit together, and they all they all go to mass, and they're all they're all they go to the church and stuff like that. Well, I know it's a tiny town, but
Mm.
they all go to church, and they all I'm losing the word. Oh yeah, and then, like when they play music, they have songs that they all know how to sing, and they have these traditions of like, oh, this song is for this occasion. Let's whip out this thing, or let's play this kind of Irish kind of song. And I'm like, man, like these
Right.
people's lives are just so much simpler.
Yeah, and and that's the one thing too. I think people should be open minded about everything. Like even if you don't agree with whatever the fuck, like you still need to take away something from what you're watching, learning, discovering, interacting with, because I feel like you miss all those subtleties. Like I said, you can watch that and then take pieces from that to give yourself a more peaceful life. So
Right, which is
like I said, I feel like closed mindedness is just the destructive force that just makes the world, spin a little bit slower.
well, yeah. I mean, that's why it like being from this country is it's a blessing and a curse because you know like I was saying, because we live in America, we have access to all of these different kinds of cultures and different things and stuff like that. But at the same time,
Yeah.
because we have that, and because we have just completely abandoned tradition, and there's just no binding thing, and we're all just kind of doing our own thing, and like there's just a lot of human necessities that we lose, like community and stuff like that.
Which isn't to say that we can start new traditions and like find communal aspects in, other new things, but I don't know. I think part of my problem with having that sort of mindset was I remember going through that when I was younger, and I was just so worried about, what was going to happen afterwards, or, like if I'm living my life that I'm not going to get in trouble when I die, or like I felt like I had to navigate around what was good and what was I had to stay away from. So it was a very uncomfortable sort of feeling. And I think nowadays when I look back, it's just like it's just so much easier when you just do your own thing and just fucking leave other people that don't service you out of your life. And like if they're doing shit that's negative, just just having the power and the actual privilege to just not be a part of that. Like you're not stuck or bound to this person. You can just fucking
Yeah,
walk
yeah,
away
like
at
the
a moment's
toxic
notice.
people. Yeah.
Exactly. So like I feel like I don't have to change people and I don't have to be around them. Like I can just let them do themselves and then I can do myself. Like it and I can be peaceful in my own head. So I feel like that's the one thing that like if you navigate this world where you think the majority of it is lost, and because if it's not going back to tradition or patriotism or religion or whatever the case may be, I feel like you just have to give yourself some peace and just let people be themselves and just do your own thing at some point.
Yes, and that's what is, like I said, it's a blessing and a curse because like you can literally just do anything. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have money, you can do a lot of shit. I would say it's very difficult if you don't have money.
Well, sure,
But
but there's still you can still get money. Like the opportunity is like it's gonna be there. That's why like people that are telling me that like you can't get a job in America. I'm like you're fucking stupid. Like go to another country. Like where would you rather live? Nowhere. Like seriously.
well, you can get a job. The problem is the fucking inflation. Like shit is getting so
Well,
expensive and wages aren't catching up to
yes,
it.
I can see what you're saying. But the idea that you just
So
like you
like I'm
just
not even
can't
saying
work is like nonsense.
yeah, no, I think, I don't know, I haven't looked at unemployment rates if they're even accurate, but like I don't think the majority of people don't have a job and are struggling. I think a lot of people have multiple jobs and are struggling. And, you can go back and forth of, what's an actual skill and what's useful labor and what, people getting a degree versus people working fast food. Like there's a whole bunch of fucking talking points and rhetoric that you can go back and forth. But I mean, the majority of the country works multiple jobs and is also living paycheck to paycheck. And, whatever job they do, it's a massive problem. And I think it's the majority of people. It's like, I don't know if you're of this belief, but I'm just under the belief that, the middle class is dying. So like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And then there's just going to be this huge class divide because shit's getting so fucking expensive.
I mean, that's only kind of true in the big cities of America, if you know what I'm saying. Because here, I don't really think that that's the case. Because Manassas is fucking booming,
Yeah,
dude. Manassas is doing great.
but that's what I'm saying. Like people are moving out of shitty states like California and New York, and they're moving to other. I'm not saying this area specifically, but a lot of rural areas, and they're just driving up the cost of living and basically just pushing people out of their fucking own state
Well, yeah.
because it's just not doable.
To my knowledge, that's like where it's kind of happening in Texas right now.
Yeah, Texas, Idaho, Montana, Arizona, North Carolina, a couple other states, but even so, like I said, like it's just shit's gonna get worse. Like we're gonna have a larger class divide. Stuff's gonna get more expensive. Like, but it's also too like it's not even fast food workers. It's like teachers, firefighters, paramedics. Like a lot of those guys do highly skilled and highly stressful jobs, and like they're basically in poverty. Like no, I don't think any teacher can. Like most of them make like 30 grand a year, and especially in this area where like a shitty apartment is at least like $1,200. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Just for rents, not for utilities and groceries and shit.
I mean, like I'm sure you've heard a lot of other people talk about this, but like it's because we live in a capitalist society, and like even people that are they try to say they're fucking communists and they're literally retarded, like all these football players and all these Hollywood fucking actors, which I'm like, yeah, you can preach to me about communism all you want, but it's like if you're gonna do that, you need to you have to take a pay cut. Like don't accept this fucking $1 million salary and then to be like, oh, the poor, but you don't give fucking any of your shit. Like
Yeah, it's very tone deaf when rich people like criticize that.
No, and that's why like all of the people that are like so left wing, like they are the problem. Like you are doing all of this shit.
See, like my issue, like looking at it objectively, right? So it's like it doesn't even matter what system of government because it's just a matter of greed, right? So it's like it doesn't matter if we're capitalist, communist, or socialist, or whatever fucking bullshit word you want to throw out. Like it doesn't change the fact that the people that have the money and power are going to fucking hoard it, and they're gonna just have a slave class because it's just that's how they accumulate all that wealth. So it's like that doesn't take us switching to another system of government to fix.
Well, no, because it's hard to just switch. But like I'm saying, my ultimate point is just, and I know we've mentioned this. Well, I mentioned this many times on the podcast. It's just like whatever shit we're going through here is like nothing compared to what other people are dealing with in the world. Because it's like we have running water, we have toilet paper, we have fucking electricity, we have air conditioning. It's fucking great.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. I honestly think we're gonna get to that spot because with like because like you look around, our infrastructure is fucking failing. Like I don't think Biden's gonna do it because they don't do anything they promised. They're gonna say they're gonna do is trying to fix our infrastructure. Like obviously like the roads, the waterways, like the whole shit with Texas where like one little snowstorm knocked out a whole fucking power grid for like a city or multiple cities, and it took them a while to figure that shit out. Like our infrastructure is super fucking weak, and it doesn't take that much to disturb it. And especially with like inflation rising and like the housing market is a fucking shithole and people are escaping these cities, like homelessness is increasing rampantly, like people are on more medication, they're more drug addicts. Like we're not going to be having like we're going to be probably synonymous with a South American country pretty fucking soon. Like I don't think we're going to have a sweet ride supposedly that we're having right now. Like I just think
but
people
like,
are waking up to the fact that how fragile our system is.
But like a lot of the comes from like it's just people sitting around and just expecting other people to do shit for them, you know? And it's like they're
Yeah,
just
that doesn't.
but no,
That's
but there just comes a point in your life where it's just like you need to fucking do the shit, you know?
yeah, of course. That's
And it's
that's
just
never a good
like you're
mindset to
saying the
have.
people
Like,
on like medications or they're on this or that, and it's like I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it's like if you wait so long for the government to do these things, it's never gonna happen. Like you need to like accept the fact that they're not gonna do anything for you other than just keep you in fucking poverty.
yeah, and they do that like with all the like, and it's like, why would you want the government to run anything? Like they can't even run the DMV fucking properly. Like that's
Literally,
management.
that's why.
The fucking postal service is awful. They'll lose your shit. Like the fucking like the healthcare website is atrocious. Like even people, I remember when Obamacare first came out, like people were mad that they had to fucking like pay a fee to like, they either had to get healthcare or pay a fee or a premium or whatever. But they I think they've since changed that. But it's just like the government is not good at running social programs. They never have and they never will be.
That's why they don't need to be in our fucking lives, dude.
Yeah, like it's so shitty, and it does really keep people poor. And like it's not even that's not even like a left or right wing talking point. Like people that actually go through that shit, like this is not a good system. It's easy to take advantage of, but it also just like it's not enough to put you into the next class. Like you're gonna be stuck in that class of whatever you are, whether it's like mentally ill, drug addict, poor, fucking whatever. Like you're gonna be stuck in that system
But I
forever.
mean,
It will
you
not
can still
change,
get out of it
no matter how
though.
much money you
You
throw
can
at it.
still get out of it.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
can still get
by
out of it.
like you're talking about like I mean, I had my job at McDonald's, but like I mean, I took a lot of time to learn a bunch of skills there and to just make myself valuable. And it's a lot of it is just that, it's just making yourself valuable, you know?
Yeah, and I think when people hear that, because there's a lot of people that like they go through mental illness and they struggle and they can't afford medications and they try holding down jobs, but like maybe like they can't have money for a car, so having a rise of problems, they get fired because they can't show like there's a lot of shit that's against people trying to do the right thing and trying to learn valuable skills. Like there's a lot of people that have cards stacked against them for days, but I think the one thing that when people hear like, oh, you just need to change your mindset or you just need to, have a different attitude, it's a little bit difficult. But I think the thing that's lost in translation is that like you can do that in tandem with also being a big social reform, a big economic reform. Like I feel like that needs to happen. But like I said, because there's so much bullshit in our system, in our society, it will not help if you just sit and complain about it and do
All
nothing
right.
because it'll just make it
Yeah,
worse.
so we agree in that part. Which is yeah, like
Well,
exactly.
I agree with
It makes it worse. Yeah.
yeah. I agree to the extent that people need to do something about it because it's super hard. Like I said, if you start off poor or from a less fortunate place, it is very, very hard to get yourself not living paycheck to paycheck or not struggling every day. I think that there needs to be a lot of reform and a lot of change in our country, but I don't think that's an excuse to not do anything.
Right, yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, could things be better? Definitely. But at the same time, it's still better than everywhere else in the fucking planet. So,
Yeah, and let me be very specific for the people that are like working their ass off and like they can't get to a better spot. I more mean like you have to change. How do I put it? There's a specific way you have to think about life in order to get yourself out of that bad situation. Like if you're just going to be negatively impacting yourself every day, no matter if you're working, multiple jobs or you have to take care of kids or whatever your shitty
decision
life
making,
is, it's not gonna. You're just always gonna be. It's like like you miss all the shots you don't take, right? So it's like you can keep trying different things, and if nothing's working, then if the minute you stop trying, you're still gonna be stuck. You know what I mean? Like you just gotta find a way that works to navigate. And unfortunately, the people that can't function without medication and also don't want to change their mindset, there's pretty much no hope. Like it's fucked up to say, and like our system caters to that because they'd rather sell you and keep you fucking medicated and they'd rather not have you change your mindset, but you're just going to be like that forever. So it's just how it's going to go.
yeah.
There is no light at the end of the tunnel
Well, honestly,
because you're just going to be stuck in that system.
seriously, this is advice from me, from anyone who's listening to this. Like, the vast majority of people in college, like, you do not need to be there. Seriously. Like,
unless it's like I said, computer science, doctor, engineer, anything that you can really get a nice job out of college. Not a fucking anything with a BA is very difficult unless it's like heavily socially science, like criminology, or maybe sometimes with psychology, even though that's a very saturated. But like any art degree or any, unless you want to be a teacher, a lot of that shit is super fucking hard to find a job. And also, like I said, if you have to go through all that schooling to become a college professor, you're not even going to make that money as a teacher after going through school. So you're going to be in debt for no fucking reason. You really just have to love it.
Yeah, really.
So, yeah, unless it's useful, then like college is a waste of time. Go learn a trade.
Yeah, or just, I mean, yeah, it's just making yourself useful. Because a lot of college is not making yourself useful.
Yeah, did I ever make the point on one of the previous ones where it's like with the amount of experience that I have in this industry now, I can probably get a job anywhere versus somebody that gets, right out of college with a 6 month or a year internship. Did we mention that before?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, so I'm the firm believer that jobs don't give a fuck. I think they more care of what school you go to, but they don't give a shit about grades, and they really only care more about experience. Like I said, unless you have a valuable skill like computer science or a language of something, then you're going to get hired regardless of experience. But if something like business or, marketing specifically, it's very dependent on experience. And if you, grew up with a family that has a small business or you work in a place that you do that sort of thing and you didn't go to school or you didn't finish, you probably have a higher chance of, getting a higher paying job with that experience versus your college degree.
Yeah. Yeah, because like a lot of people where it's like, they and I'm not saying this in a negative way about anyone. Don't take this way, but a lot of people that like, like they're well off, they never have to work in I mean, sorry, in high school, it's like they go to a nice college, never have to like it's like they all have the money for it, they never have to get in a job for that. And it's like they get out of college like they never even had a job before. They don't even know how to work.
Yeah.
And it's like that's awful. Like you need to know how to do at least like a McDonald's.
Yeah, and I'm gonna bring this up, and for the people listening, if I brought this up before, feel free to skip it because it's the same conclusion. I just don't remember if I've talked about this before. When I was working because like the first job that I had was working in a restaurant, so that's pretty much for 5 years, I would say, or 5 or 6 years, all throughout high school and a little bit into college. The one thing that I saw a lot of, and I did not want to repeat this mistake, was a lot of people that worked in a restaurant had degrees in college and they were really struggling to find a job. And so a lot of them had like, I don't know, a psychology degree and they end up working in a restaurant and then they just fucking gave up. Or they already had the degree and they're just stuck with this anger because they wasted all their time. So it's like bartender, real estate. Or no, college, bartender, real estate. That was their path. So it's like they just worked in a restaurant. They're like, fuck this. I can't find a job. And then they just go into real estate. Because they realize like all you have to do to sell houses is fucking get certified and whatever the fucking just have an inclination of fucking people over. If you have that shit-eating grin mindset, then you'll do well as a realtor.
Yeah, just like being a truck driver or something like that.
That's a rough life though. I like sometimes like I don't want to tell people like go be a truck driver. Like that's tough. That's tough on your body, and it's the schedule is crazy, especially if you have a family.
Yeah, and I
like that's
and
not
also just like it just like I mean I guess it does depend on where, like the company and like how far you're making deliveries and stuff like that.
Yeah, like so that's the one thing I don't really push because like I don't think it's realistic to tell somebody that wants to get a higher paying job that's working in a restaurant like yeah go be a coal miner like
oh no
like.
But at the same time, it's still an option, and like it's not bad. You can get a lot out of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. It's like there's like really rough jobs that like a lot of people that do them are fucking admirable, and they should be paid 10 times more than what they are being paid. But I don't think it's realistic to tell people to do this like dead end skill because there's a lot of trades that are dead ends, and you can't get unless you like go into the managerial side or you start owning shit. There's not really much more you can progress in those kind of jobs.
Wait, what trade pays like you the most money? Is it air conditioning or electrician? Because like I know those can get you some bank.
I would probably go the electricity route because there's a lot of skills that you can do, especially with AV.
It's also dangerous
which
as
is
fuck.
not...
I know that. Like one mixed wire, you're dead. Oh no.
That's like, you know those guys like the line layers that climb up on telephone poles. Like I think those guys make six figures if I'm not
Isn't that what
mistaken.
Steve did?
For a while, yeah, he was a. But again, like it was just a dangerous job, and like the hours are fucked, and getting up so early in the morning, like it just takes a toll on you.
I bet. Yeah.
So it's like, like having like I can place myself in that situation where it's like I'm in this really grueling job that pays me money, and I'm just so miserable. So like having to take a job that pays less, so you literally don't fucking burn yourself out. Like it's crazy.
Well, yeah, that's why like it's like a six-figure job. That's awesome, but it's like, if you don't have any time for your hobbies or like your family or anything, it's like, is it even worth it?
Yeah.
That's up to you. That's between you and God.
Or if it's rough on your body, like
True.
it's like if you can't do it for that long, it's just like fuck.
Oh yeah,
man.
if I had to like do house building or some kind of random construction for like the rest of my life, oh man.
Yeah, I really, dude, I feel for the guys that are in their 40s or they're just stuck doing that every day. That's what feeds the family, man. They put their boots on and go to work.
Still, I have mad respect for
It's
those people.
I do too. I don't. I think it's sad because it's that. See, to me, that's an example of the system failing us. Is like having all the good in this country, but then like having people that are super hardworking and bust their ass, and like this is how we treat them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I know.
that's kind of my whole point. Is not even within like lazy entitled people. It's just hardworking Americans being stuck in this system like
I
that.
know. Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree with you. But at the
And
same,
it's just
yeah.
it's nothing more but greed. Like it's just, there's no other reason but greed.
Yeah, I just have a
It's that
problem
simple.
with just like the Hollywood people, because like that's where it's literally coming from, and they're like, oh,
Well,
such a problem with greed, and it's like they're literally the fucking people that are doing that.
that's different though. They're just that's different. They're just pandering. Like they're just doing it for whatever cred they need, or just because they're in that industry where like if they say anything remotely different, they'll never find any work. So that's just all that's there for.
Right.
That's like I said, that's just the nature of the beast in Hollywood. But again, they have a point. It is fucking greed. But again, if they're not gonna do anything to change it, if they just say that just to say it, then yeah, like you're part of the system.
Yeah,
Like
same
you
thing
are
with the
that
fucking
thing.
college professors that teach all these kids all this bullshit. It's like you guys are also doing that shit.
And they also get paid fucking extremely
Yes,
well
exactly.
if they have tenure.
Right, right.
Because like there's a lot of college professors that don't make that much money because I don't there's a specific term for a type of professor that you are. It's like either the only thing I can compare it to, it's like an employee versus a contractor.
Right.
There's a specific type of professor that gets paid more than another, and I don't remember what it is, but just starting out, it's kind of difficult to get your foot in the door. But once you have tenure, bro, you're fucking making bank.
Yeah, that's the thing, dude. It's like
That's what I'm saying. Like
they're
if you go to college, you might like if it's a degree that's kind of useless, you might as well put yourself through the trouble and go to graduate school, or try to get a PhD
yeah,
and be a fucking
that's
professor.
what my dad did. Well, I mean, he's not a professor, but I mean, honestly, he could be. Like, my dad would be a great college teacher.
Does he have his? I mean, obviously, he probably has his master's. Does he have a PhD?
I believe he does.
Okay. Yeah, so once you go high up in that realm, like that, I think more doors will open for you. So I think just having a bachelor's degree with no experience will not get you anywhere, but a master's or sometimes not in teaching though. I feel like I've heard teachers bitch about like, oh, I got my master's for this, like stuff like that. But I think if you have a PhD, you can pretty much make money with whatever you do.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like fucking how many years of your life?
Or like of doing the school, yeah, like the medical school. It takes
Yeah.
like fucking 10 years. Is that even worth it,
Yeah.
man? Like,
I don't know, dude. Doctors like they're the one thing obviously besides like medicine pushing, but like surgeons and shit. Like give those guys a couple million, like because my god.
I know they do. I think those, yeah. The
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those they deserve it. If they're not a fucking general practitioner, they're just giving people antibiotics for like little cuts and shit. Like fuck those guys. But like actual like surgeons or people that literally spend hours doing that shit. Like yeah, they deserve a lot of money.
yeah, because it's really rare. That's a very rare skill,
Yeah. I don't think it's that difficult to go to school for that amount of time and learn like medical shit to like recommend medication that might work for somebody, but the people that like have to identify like cancers or different types of diseases
Oh yeah,
and
where
shit
it's
like
like,
that,
is this
like
person gonna
that's
live or
insane.
die? Yeah, like that. People
Yeah,
that can
like
do
that,
that, yeah,
like-
like that's insane. That's very admirable.
Yeah, and that's something about like doctors. Like I don't find medicine pushing a very useful skill.
No, those kind of doctors
If it's
can,
not life-saving.
they can kiss my ass.
Yeah.
And those people think that they're so cool because like they're like, oh, I'm a doctor.
Yeah, they're douchebags about it too. They're like, "Hey man, how you doing? All right, let's give you some fucking Percocet. You're good to go. See ya." Like,
Literally.
dude, there's a story. Do you remember? It was about this fucking doctor in West Virginia that got in trouble for pushing. I think it was what was that famous opiate? Oh my god, I'm blanking on the name. Fuck, what is the name? Okay, it was a very popular painkiller that came out, and they basically lied and said that, oh, it's super non-addictive, and they wanted to have their marketing plan was to give people an opiate for a headache
Really?
because they claimed it was that non-addictive, like shit like that. And this doctor in West Virginia got in trouble. Like, there's maybe, I don't know, 1 million or 2 million people, or maybe a couple of 100,000. It's a very small population. There was like millions of prescriptions of opiates in this town, like just handing that shit out like candy, and getting this whole fucking town addicted to painkillers.
Man. Wait, like
Fucking
most
wild.
like illegal drugs, they were designed for like painkillers, right? Like to
I don't
treat
know.
that
I
kind
just
of
know
stuff.
that
Or...
all those hardcore drugs that take a lot of science to make, like, it's not fucking random meth heads in their basements making this shit.
Oh no, not like those synthetic shit, but like cocaine and all that. Like that was for treating like painkillers, right?
Well, that's because they thought it was medicine back in the day. They didn't realize all the side effects from it. But the one thing that
What are the
is
side
just
effects,
highly
by the
political
way?
of
Yeah.
cocaine, it really fucks with your heart. If you overdose on it, it's like I said, it just fucking stops your heart because it just keeps beating. Obviously, it's probably bad for your brain. It's probably bad for your body being in that constant like hyperness all the time. I don't really know what it does,
Yeah,
but
no,
I
I
know it
don't want to
just
do
like
it.
when you're coked out, it's just you're just fucking quick to anger all the time. It's just like it's not good for your heart. It's probably bad for
Have
your
you ever done
fucking
it?
blood pressure because it fucks. No, I've never done coke.
What
I've never done like
what have you done?
the only thing I've just done weed,
Oh, yeah, same.
but it fucks my system
I don't
like
really
it.
want to go further. Like that's I don't really see why I would ever would.
All I'll say is that it just makes me get panic attacks. Like I've tried a couple times, and that's all I've needed to know from it, and I don't do it. I don't really even drink that much.
Yeah, I
Like
was
I
gonna
I
ask you about
socially
that. Like,
drink.
how much like do you like drinking? Because I don't like drinking at all, dude.
No, not really. Like I can't sit and drink alcohol by myself. Like it's just I can't do it. I don't like the taste really. Like there's very few alcoholic things I like the taste of, and most of them are mixed drinks because like it's like a little bit of the flavor, but I just don't like the taste of alcohol innately. But I like like when I'm out with my bandmates or we're out doing like a social thing, like I like having a beer, even though I don't really like the taste of it that
That's
much.
fine. I mean, the
I like
first fourth of a bottle is like, this is kind of interesting because it's like liquid bread basically. But then it's like,
yeah.
like you get so you're like, oh, okay, I've had way too much. I need water.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing too, like I like the feeling of being buzzed, but I don't like the feeling of being drunk. And I think I've thrown up one time in my life
Oh yeah, I know.
from
Being
alcohol.
drunk is awful. I hate the feeling of being
Yeah,
drunk.
I hate it.
But like being, like you said, like being buzzed, or, like tipsy is like that can be fun. But
Yeah,
it's like,
I love that feeling because I love feeling loose in a little bit. But yeah, I after I threw up from out, I'm like, all right, this is fucking stupid. I'm not gonna like. And people are like, oh, I'm never gonna drink again. But like, I was just like, I'm not. I know my
same,
limits.
dude.
Like
That
I'll
happened to me. Cause like, and that's the other thing is like, I mean, I don't have like my tolerance to these things is really weird, dude. Cause like alcohol, especially if it's beer, it takes like 3 of them or 4 of them to like even feel like anything. So I'm like, what is the point? I've already drank so
yeah.
many goddamn calories. Like it's so bad for you. Like,
Well, that's why you drink liquor because it gets you like buzz quicker. You can take like 2 shots and
well,
you're good.
true. Yeah.
I'm also a light. I'm also. It depends on how your tolerance is. I'm a lightweight, so it doesn't take that much alcohol to get me buzzed. Like if I haven't eaten anything all day and I drink a beer, I'm ready to go. Or if I ate very
I don't
little,
know.
but
We have to wait till we
well,
have like some group podcast where we do that.
yeah, yeah. So like I know my limits. I have self control. So like I can drink to a point where I'm happy, then I can stop. It's not a problem.
All right, and that's why like I can
Um,
do, like you said, like weed every once in a while, and it's great. But it's like I don't need to do that. Not even every day, but like every week. That is still way too much. Like you don't need that.
I honestly think that weed is less harmful than
Oh,
alcohol, and it
same.
shouldn't
Yeah.
have been illegal. Yeah, it shouldn't have been illegal in the first place. But the culture is really fucking annoying to me. I hate weed
Yes.
culture.
No.
It's so
Exactly. That's
irritating.
why. Because like,
Oh, it's
I
so
mean,
cringy. I
I've
hate
had
it.
conversations with my mom and stuff like that. Because you know, my parents really are very anti-weed, and I completely understand why. But like, I'm
Yeah.
just kind of like, you might still have this kind of like anti-weed thing just because it was like a counterculture thing, you know?
It was totally political, and it was like I said. The only reason, I mean, people claim the reason why it was illegal because of the therapeutic properties that it gives you, like stomach relief for people that have cancer. A lot of the others, I don't know. There's a lot of other claims that people say that marijuana helps you with. I don't
No,
know. I've
I
like I
do
said,
understand like people that are like, no, that's bullshit. Like the idea that it's healthy for you, that's nonsense. I'm like,
well, not the fact that it's healthy, the fact that like it can help you. Like I said, like instead of taking this very like aggressive, pill that's probably doing damage to your kidney or your liver, like you can just smoke a joint and then not feel not like I'm saying like there's like the ailments. Not saying it's healthy to do it, but I think it's less harmful than alcohol. And I also think
definitely.
sugar is harmful too, but it's not as bad as hardcore painkillers or other
Yeah,
opiates.
exactly.
Um, so I think because people like all these pharmaceutical companies, like it just basically it's gonna get to the point where now it's gonna be watered down and regulated and diluted to where it's not gonna really have too much of an effect on you. But it's gonna be they're gonna try to get it to the point where with other medication where it's just so fucking diluted, it doesn't really help you, or it just gives you temporary relief or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, so it can be like
But yeah,
you can just buy it in this in the shelf or something.
exactly. They once once the government taxes it, they're gonna fucking find a way to make money off of it for
Yep.
sure. But yeah, who gives a shit about weed? I don't know if I would do it if I didn't give me panic attacks because I just don't like the feeling of being high. I don't like that feeling of loss of control like that, and I think that's what freaks me out so much.
I mean,
I,
I
I
enjoy it. I think it's because like it's fun, but obviously, not all the time because that's you can't do that. Like you need to have like you need to be responsible and you need to have your job and you need to have all these things in check because you can't just and obviously like the state of mind because if you're just high all the time you're not going to understand what it's like to not be and it's like your whole like you're not going to appreciate it as much just like it comes to anything.
yeah, and I think this with anything like there's a million people like fucking tons of people that smoke weed and are functional. I'm just saying like I just like
It's not
if
for you
you
because it's not for
I just
everyone.
find yeah, and
Right.
that's fine. That's why I hate weed culture because they're so adamant. But every time I say that, there's like, no, bro, you just haven't tried the right strain. I'm like, dude, I don't even like even if it's a good strain, I don't like the feeling of it.
Yeah,
Like it
no,
doesn't
because
feel
like it's
good.
not for everyone. When like the fucking people from weed culture, they're like, oh, if everyone smoked, like it'd be great. It's like not really.
You know what I'm waiting for because like it feels like every 5 fucking years, every like 10, like oh like this one thing we said was good for you. Just kidding, it's now bad for you. Like everybody switches off like what food you're supposed to eat and what food you
Yeah,
aren't.
with like oh, dude, bread is bad. Wait, no, not bread is bad, but like just sugar. But it's like not sorry, dude.
Exactly.
Like actually, protein's bad for you.
Yeah, like do eggs give you heart palpitations or do they give you like what So I'm waiting for like this medical breakthrough like oh weed does a specific thing to one of your organs that you shouldn't do and people are like oh fuck.
All those stupid like stoners. Oh wait, no.
Yeah. Like oh shit no it's fake. So I'm waiting for that medical switch to be like it's not good to do in this amount.
Right.
I think the one thing that is consistent is like it stunts the growth of developing brains. I think is the one consistent thing they can
Oh
say about it.
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Like if you do that
But
shit when you're like
but
14, that's
beyond like
awful.
full development, I think it doesn't do that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just do they have enough research on it?
I don't know. I just kind of chalk it down to the alcohol thing because when you drink alcohol, it kills your brain cells too. So if you do it all the time, you just become fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Um,
who knows, man?
I mean, like you said, I mean, it depends on like the person, because like my dad drinks alcohol almost like every day, but like he works, he's completely functional. I never,
Yeah, but he's probably not getting shit faced every
no,
day.
no,
He's
no,
probably having a drink at dinner.
no, he just has like a glass of wine or something like that.
Yeah, that's not even that's I don't even consider that drinking. That's just like you're fucking enjoying whatever. I'm
I see
talking
what you're
about
saying, yeah.
like going out and drinking all the time.
Yeah, which I still have I'm just like it's not fun, man. Like I don't know about you, man. I just hate going to parties. Parties are so stupid. Of just like, or like house parties, anything
I
like
don't.
that. It's just like,
Yeah, I don't like the parties where people just sit around and bullshit. Like if there's gotta be like I have to go to like a house show or something, like something music related or dancing or
right.
something. Like people, the ones where people just stand around and like, what the fuck is this? This is so boring.
No, you can do that when you're just bullshitting when it's like your close friend group, you know. But you
Yeah,
can't do
exactly. Yeah,
that.
those are fun, but
Yeah,
like a random house full of people I don't want to talk to,
I
like,
know, and
and
like you're
and like the music's playing and no one's dancing, like
yeah,
fuck
and like
this.
you're not gonna want to be yourself. You're literally just everyone's like these like fucking weird kind of distorted versions of themselves that like they want to present in front of other people, and it's just, it's so gross, dude. I'm Christian, man.
You should just wear that shirt when you go to
Uh,
parties. Like someone tries to talk to you, like, whoa, read the
yeah,
shirt,
it just says I'm Christian, man.
read the shirt, bro.
Not a good
Not
look,
part of
bro.
this lifestyle. Not a good look.
Yeah, like someone is just
Oh
like
man.
just literally tries to just like look at me. No, sorry, Christian, bro, can't do
Going to hell, can't fix you. Don't have
it.
time.
Sorry. No, I saw one of these shirts. It was like simping question mark. Sorry, I love Jesus.
I'm surprised they didn't make an acronym to every time there's like a religious like PSA. They always make an acronym of the thing they're against.
Like, what is one of those?
Um, I can't remember. Of course, I'm blanking, but it's like I don't know, like I guess tattoos, right? So it's like the Christians are against tattoos. They make like the acronym of tattoo to like it's like what you're supposed to do instead of getting a tattoo. It's like praising like you know
Oh,
what I'm saying? It's just a fucking they just make a acronym off of the thing they're
oh,
hating.
you mean like an inverse of it or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is great.
Um, yeah, I think fuck, I don't know. Just, people just need to fucking chill out. That's all I'm saying. Just been saying it for a while. Just chill
Hey
out.
man, because like we have access to just fucking so much shit, man. It's a lot.
I think that's kind of the conclusion to the atmosphere for that sort of thing. I think it's a good note to end it on.
Yeah, honestly. It's like there's
You guys are going to be in for a treat for this podcast because the audio is going to be not shitty this time.
oh yeah. Do we want to
We're upgrading, baby.
do new recommendations? We could end the podcast with new recommendations if you have thought of one.
Like I said in the last one, got to think about it. So it'll be a surprise
Alright,
for the
then
next
I'll tell you your
one.
next one. I'll tell yours later.
Yep.
Even though I kind of put it down,
Yep.
but yep, I need to
Yep.
go to sleep because unlike some people, I have a job. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't mean to.
Unlike you lazy commies, I get up and do nothing at my job.
Yeah, that's the recurring joke. Even though I do stuff, but you know,
Allegedly.
yes, allegedly, I allegedly work and get paid a shit ton of money for it.
Hope you're well rested to fucking sit in your chair.
Yep, and make a podcast about bullshit that is not going to matter in 20 years.
Exactly.
Well, it matters to Jesus.
Send us to aliens.
So,
He listens. He listens
yep,
hard.
dude, Jesus is the third person present. He's always there.
JC on the MC, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. This was fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye.